Welcome, everyone, to Progressive Discussions. This is the Progressive Piranha. I am James Piranha Madonna, your host, and I'm here with my co-host, Damian the Wolf Owens. How are you, sir?
I'm doing a lot better, all things considered. Today was a beautiful day down here. We went out for a little drive, and it was a nice 68 degrees, partly cloudy skies, and everyone else was out taking a walk, taking a jog, and just living life as normal as what they can be.
Well, it was dry and sunny and clear here. It was really a lovely day. My sister stopped by and brought me a bag of goodies, and the weather was really, really perfect. Perfect pandemic weather despite it. But anyway, let me sink my piranha teeth right into the main topic, which is, excuse me while I do this.
Yeah, go get him, Tiger.
Which is the grown man that when he gives speeches at rallies, he shows a lot of conviction. He shows a lot of intestinal fortitude and determination. But it always ends up the same way. I don't want to say he's like H. Ross Perot, but when at the end, this guy, this geek, this dork, Bernie Sanders, capitulates every time at the end with all the big talk and all the speeches and the legions showing up at his rallies. He, for some strange reason, runs as a Democrat, even though he really is a democratic socialist independent. When he runs for president, he runs as a Democrat. He brags about not taking big campaign contributions. He raised a lot of money with the help of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, raised a lot of money from the little guy. He broke some records in that respect. He went on a lot of shows. He had a lot of things to say. He is the creator of the grassroots revolution. and the organization Our Revolution with Nina Turner. And for some reason, he is hypnotized by the oligarch-controlled, corrupt DNC, and the scrawny weasel, the scrawny bucktooth weasel, Tom Perez. He's just under their spell, and he just has an obsession with saving the corrupt Democratic Party, who is just an oligarch puppet. And I have no idea why he's obsessed with saving it, but he is. And what he did was he just simply, as sleepy closet pedophile, mild dementia, Joe Biden was winning states because Americans are dumber than a fucking bag of rocks, the American voter. So as Joe Biden, sleepy Joe Biden, was winning delegates and winning states, Bernie Sanders' advisors, who were most likely DNC neoliberals, along with the control freak, the skinny Uncle Tom that Ralph Nader called him in 2008, and Ralph Nader was right, Barack Obama, the corporatist, the corporate whore, Barack Obama, the scrawny control freak for the second time. He did it in 2016. He had private meetings with Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders, who's supposed to be a grown man in his late 70s, could have said, fuck off DNC, fuck off Tom Perez, fuck off Barack Obama. I am staying on the ballot as an independent socialist because I put way too much into this campaign, and that's how it's going to be. But instead of being a man, Bernie Sanders turned out to have raisin balls, raisins for testicles, raisin balls. He can't speak for himself. So Barack Obama, the control freak, convinced him again for the second time, but he didn't have to listen. And he capitulated like a traitor and a coward that he is. Bernie Sanders, you disappointed all of your followers, all of your donators. You really pissed people off, and you are going to cause them to stay home and not vote again, just like you did in 2016. You're doing it in 2020. You're a dork. I knew dorks and geeks in high school. They knew they did not have testosterone. They knew they were not real alpha men. You're a dork and a geek, and you're a coward and a traitor. And in my neighborhood, they break the legs of traitors. You're a punk. And Barack Obama, you're a scrawny little motherfucking punk for trying to sabotage the grassroots revolution. Okay, for trying to. But I blame Bernie Sanders more because he's an adult. He's in his late 70s. He did not have to listen to the DNC or Barack Obama. I don't give a fuck how many Secret Service you got around you. You're not president anymore. You're a control freak piece of shit. And Bernie Sanders, you geek, you dork, you coward. All the people who sent you money, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're capitulated. Now, who do we have? Closet pedophile, mild dementia, sleepy Joe Biden, who's going to be torn apart because the DNC is not coming out with any viable replacements for the guy. The guy does not have the intestinal fortitude or the brain cells to defeat Donald Trump and to become president of the United States. He doesn't. Joe Biden has mental disabilities. I hate to say it. He is mentally impaired. Plus, he has skeletons in his closet. There's a woman ready to bring him up on sexual harassment charges. What else is new with the neoliberal feminists? Of course, they're trying to destroy heterosexual relationships. Okay, we got Jeff Zambella. Hey, James, how are you doing? I'm hanging in there. Today, I just purchased a $16 million condominium in Manhattan, just like Jeff Bezos of Whole Foods and Amazon. Jeff Bezos is a scumbag. Hey, James, your girlfriend, Debbie Wasser Conchitz, says she misses you at the DNC. It's good to add a little humor. It's good to add a little humor. Hey, James, I am an elitist, just like Jeff Bezos. All poor people are an inconvenience to my Ivy League lifestyle. Guess how many books I read this week? Me. So sad, the selfishness. Oh, you're damn right. So sad, the selfishness. Hold on, let me get Professor Mike Hilton safe in Antarctica over here.
Okay. Must be safe in Antarctica then.
Safe in Antarctica. Yeah, and give my regards to the emperor penguins. I was always a big admirer of the emperor penguins.
Well, I tried to give him a fruit basket, but I think he spat it in my face. So I'm trying to act like I get along. They want to cluck me upside the head, but then I still act like a human, inept human.
Well, you know something? If Antarctica, as the ice and snow continue to melt due to global warming, if they started to find very rich amounts of natural resources, you can be sure the United States will try to take it over and build a military base in Antarctica.
So we're in Germany, we're still in Korea, and now
just follow the money trail, like Jesse Ventura says. But getting back, this is interesting. Bilderbergs and the Illuminati. Can you say coronavirus? Wink, wink, nod, nod.
I can say Corona beer.
Well, no, this is a serious show. But you could say Corona beer if you want. Oh, by the way, Corona beer has been doing a lot of advertising since the Corona pandemic.
Somebody said though that they stopped sales.
Yeah, well,
lost revenue.
Jeff Bezos, was caught bringing fake, phony, fraud, non-GMO, organic foods into Whole Foods, which he now owns. But for those that are Bible theologians, it says, he who makes haste to be rich shall not be innocent.
You know who you would like? You know who you would like, James? You would like John Stuart Mill. He's a good philosopher. He basically just says, just because you offend somebody doesn't mean that you committed a crime. You didn't commit a crime. You just offended them. So this whole thing of every offense now has to become a crime. No. Since when are we a society where everything is an offense? I don't agree with Gary on everything. Doesn't make him a criminal. It just makes him.
Well, you don't debate. You don't debate with Damian the Wolf Owens like, let's say, a Ronnie S does. You're more of a moderate dude. You're like kind of like in the middle somewhere.
I'm moderate. I'm also more independent. I mean, I thought I was a Democrat.
Okay, now let me sink my teeth into the theme. Jeff Zambello says, let me get this out of the way because I don't want too many distractions from the theme. James, why would the Bilderbergs and Illuminati of Davos, Switzerland use the coronavirus to cull the herd of poor people on the tax rolls? Well, just like what was told Jesse Ventura a long time ago. The elitists claim that the poor and the elderly and the minorities are using too much of their natural resources. So they need to cull the herd. I wouldn't be surprised, because don't forget, many conspiracy theories have become proven facts over time. John Stuart Mill's stick to the knitting. Okay, now, Bernie Sanders really did disappoint legions of his followers. He is a flat-out coward and a traitor. There's no doubt about that, because he's not a child. He's allowed to say no to the DNC and to Barack Obama. And just like Jesse Ventura said, no politician is obligated to meet with any lobbyists. You're not obligated. Okay. Now we look cramped like sardines in a can. Hold on, let me.
I don't know why he would capitulate when he has run two, mildly successful campaigns. He
capitulated. He did run very successful campaigns, but he capitulated. He made it official that he quit the campaign. First, he was going to leave himself on the ballot up until a certain time. Now I hear he might not leave his name on the ballot, and he's backing a corporatist, a moderate corporatist, corporate whore, Joe Biden, who has been riding Barack Obama's coattails from day one, and he's a closet pedophile that likes to inhale young girls' scalps from behind, and he has this sexual harassment charge that's coming up. And he also, if you ever listen to him in an interview, he proves that he has mild dementia.
Because we do the red pill, guys, just because we do the red pill progressive on YouTube doesn't mean that we are advocating that you act like a lot of guys who didn't realize that their actions actually affect people. No, why we do that is we are giving you guidance. And the whole point of the guidance is that you can go through these situations as easily and as calmly as possible. Joe Biden, it seems like, he's going to have issues with the youth vote from that alone. And that's going to, I don't know if it will have it, because if he has the African-American support, he should have some youth support, but I don't know if it's going to be over.
Well, the reason why he has the African-American support is because of his connection to Barack Obama. That's the only reason. It's a black thing. That's why he won all those southern states.
Wait, so why did black people have to like Joe Biden just because he was vice president? There were plenty of
because he was connected to Barack Obama. Some people do it just because one of their peeps was involved.
Obama picked Biden because if he picked somebody who was vice president, and if it wasn't Biden, that vice president would not stand a chance right now. So either somebody who's very liberal or who's very centrist doesn't stand a chance.
Just next time he's interviewed, I listened to him when he was interviewed by Anderson Cooper, and Anderson Cooper was making so many faces that he what the hell is this guy saying? It's nothing but nothing but word salad with Joe Biden. He's chopping up his sentences.
What's his problem? I feel like he would be like Bill Clinton. Jeff Sambella says James in 20. James, that's for you. I won't say it. That's
James, in 2016, why did DNC chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz give the debate questions to Hillary Clinton before it was televised. Not only that, Dr. Jill Stein of the Green Party was on the ballot. She was not invited.
Stop for a second. Jill Stein won 2016 when people lost who weren't supposed to. Jill Stein did everything she could, because I feel like Gary Johnson didn't do shit.
No, that's not the point.
Everything she fucking could.
That's not the
sure that recounts happened and we got accurate results. She did everything she could.
Well, the point is, if you're on the ballot, representing a political party, how come she wasn't invited to the debates? The American people have a right to hear everyone that's on the ballot.
Yeah, like what Tulsi Gabbard said. What Tulsi Gabbard said. Yeah.
Well, Tulsi Gabbard is not. Yeah. Well, if you're on the ballot at the end, you have a right to be invited to the debates.
Why? Where was Tulsi Gabbard? A lot of people would have.
But Tulsi Gabbard, what party? Yeah, but Tulsi Gabbard was just spending money for nothing. It was a waste. She didn't stand a chance. But the point is, Jill Stein in 2016 was a Green Party representative, and she was on the ballot. She wasn't invited to the debates. You follow what I'm saying? She wasn't invited. She
tried to repair the whole fucking result. So she felt like she had some guilt in this whole thing. So she tried to actually repair the fucking result. Gary Johnson.
Repair. I would have loved to hear her debate Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. James, I heard it recently in the news that Sleepy Joe Biden got a $50 million out of China during the time of his vice presidency. Oh, that's true. Yeah, him and his son Hunter Biden, they did a lot of business with a lot of people. I like Jill Stein a lot more than deadbeat without a pulse, Gary Johnson.
Gary Johnson doesn't even know certain cities in the Middle East. If you test
Tulsi Gabbard is totally hot. Hubba, hubba, hubba. She's doable. She's doable. She's doable.
She's all right.
All right. Now, he really, getting back to Bernie Sanders, he really disappointed legions of people that supported him. And he eliminated the presence of the Democratic Socialist representative from this campaign. So now what we have is the furnace and the frying pan. Take your pick, column A or column B.
Well, I mean, even Biden said that he wanted Sanders in there. I mean, even Biden said that Sanders was welcome in the primary.
Yeah, but Biden doesn't want a free universal health care, Medicare for all, and he doesn't want free public university education for all Americans.
During a virus, when there's a virus that is just rampaging everything, he's not going to take that time to say, you know what, we have to pull the plug. We have to instill an exemption.
Well, did you hear his handling of his handling of the pandemic if he was president? He did the word salad again, chop, 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 chop on a cutting board. It didn't make any sense. Everybody was making faces at him,
It sucks because he does try to sound articulate. However, he often does get very robotic, and he does get very terse, and he does get
he stutters and stammers a lot.
I mean, I like him, but I don't like that he does.
No, that's the way he sounds.
Obama never did that, ever.
Neither did Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, with 2 stents in his heart, was able to raise his voice and be right on target with every subject without coming up for air. He was like the Energizer Bunny. But now you know why I'm so upset of why, but with him capitulating Well, giving up. I like saying capitulate. It sounds fancy. Capitulating, capitulating despite the fact that he was on a roll with his rallies. Now, granted, the coronavirus pandemic did put a huge damper on the 2020 campaign. I like the handcrafted pale ale that the commentator from Northern California had on a show last week. Oh yeah, that was him. That was Michael Hill.
I'll show that in a second. Right now.
Yeah, but not yet. No, we have too much to talk about towards the tail end. Do you have any more of that delicious pale ale? If so, then crack open a cold one. Well, he could crack it open and show it and drink it, but we're not doing any reviews because we have too much work ahead of us.
No, for now, fuck the reviews. Let's
Yeah, no, I wouldn't crack it yet. I wouldn't crack it yet because Damien the Wolf Owens got to get ready for the Confederacy Part 6.
Oh yeah.
The finale, the grand finale. All right, so keep it cold, and then after the Confederacy, between the Confederacy and the tarot cards.
All right, so then James, you'll remind me.
Yeah. Put it in the freezer. Get it cold.
Nice.
Okay, now it's time for the grand finale, the Confederacy Part 6 by Damien the Wolf Owens.
All right. So I hope everyone's enjoyed this journey we've been taking together about the Confederacy and looking at it from a different perspective as compared to the way most people portray it as. And also being a Southerner, it is part of our history, although there are different people who have different opinions about it. I mean, I at one point used to fly the Confederate flag, but not because I was a racist, but just because, I was rebellious and full of piss and vinegar and really just didn't really care about what people thought. But now I believe that we've gone through everything that needs to be gone through, but like all great things, they must come to an end. So, Part 6, the finale. So, as we talked about in the previous video, the Civil War could have been avoided in the 19th century, but would have still ultimately happened in the 20th century, but would have had much greater historical significance had it actually happened in the 20th century. So we've gone from everything to now alternate history. So now at this point, the grand finale, the Civil War has broken out in the 20th century. And it's breaking out around the time World War I would have started had we not gotten involved with it, in 1917 and 1918. This happens between the years 1915 to sometime between 1926 to about 1927. So we have a much longer but much more historical significant Civil War. So at this point, it's two imperialist nations going against each other. So the Confederacy has the help of the British Empire as well as the French Empire because of their main export, cotton. And the Union really doesn't have anybody to ally with because the Confederacy is looked more upon in a greater light and gets more support financially from the rest of the world because of cotton. So now the Union is having to fight the Confederacy all by itself. So at this point, it's fighting like the way World War I was. Trench warfare and old outdated tactics. So when modern warfare meets always a fighting battle, it is going to be a true horrendous bloodbath on American soil for this Civil War. So the Confederacy is at a complete disadvantage because now they're having to fight their own insurrectionists among the minorities in the Confederacy. And then now they're having to deal with the Union fighting them on the northern front. So now they're basically having to fight 2 or 3 battles while still maintaining their own self-autonomy. Well, throughout the years of fighting from about 1915 to about 1926 to 1927, the Confederacy holds out for as long as it can. but ultimately it succumbs to defeat because of it's not a unified country. The minorities of the country are the ones that are actually having the most pull by their insurrections. And then the fact that the Union is just relentless in their strive into invading the Confederacy, not being able to keep up with everything on both fronts. So by 1926-27, the Confederacy falls. Now, the death toll is definitely much higher than what it would have been in the regular U.S. Civil War in the 19th century. It would have been up into the millions, not only for the Confederacy side, but also the Union side as well. So, what happens to the Confederacy after it falls? Does it become unified as one whole country? Yes, it does. But now the South looks completely different. Now, at this point, the Confederacy and its ideals are no longer looked at in any high regard because of now seeing how much oppression it caused, not only among the minorities, but how just so fatally flawed the whole entire system itself was, and it incorporates itself into the Union of the United States. Now, granted, it does not incorporate itself in without any animosity. Don't get me wrong. There are still bitter hatred towards the Confederacy and Union because it was two countries that went to war, and one side is basically subjugating the other one. So, while the unified country, once again, not really on the best terms. So, that is where we're at in that alternate history. The Confederacy falls, the war is won, the Union wins, and the ideas of socialism and communism began to take root in America in a much different way. Now, with all of that being said, we're going to have it as alternate history for other instances, but now the series has concluded. The Confederacy would have still fallen. The war was ultimately inevitable, but yet it is definitely a much different America. And now the ideas of the Confederacy are no more. So I hope everyone enjoyed the whole entire series. And if you missed anything, you can just rewatch the videos. They're going to be in the previous ones we've done. But yes, that was my whole entire take on the Confederacy, plus a little alternate history involved.
Okay, very good. So thank you very much, Damian the Wolf Owens, on the completing the series. This was part 6 on the Confederacy. Now,
How come completing? Why not something else after?
Well, that's why I say we'll have other alternate histories in future videos, but they will no longer be under the Confederacy guise.
Yeah, in other words, yeah, this was strictly on the Confederacy. The other series that Damien did was on the tarot deck, the major and minor arcana. That was the series, but it had to be done meticulously, one at a time. So now, during intermission, before Damian the Wolf Owens starts shuffling his tarot card deck, excuse me, Michael.
You don't have to. If you review beer, you don't have to say excuse me.
All right.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break, so I'll be back here in just a moment.
Now, where is this India Pale? Where is this pale ale? Oh, you couldn't wait to drink it.
No, that's still chilling in the freezer, James. But this is a Flyjack by Firestone Walker, and it is their. You can put me on. Oh, didn't even have to ask, but Flyjack by Damien or by Firestone Walker. Feel like it is by Damien Owens because he does do a super job on things. He's very fucking good at explaining things. Firestone Walker, Flyjack, Session IPA. It's pretty good. It's good. It's fruity. It is hazy. They say it's a hazy ale I do want to get that out of the trash. I want to show you guys this beer. I don't know about you guys, but I'm running out of beer. I'm running out of, groceries every day, having to constantly go back.
All right. I just want to let everybody know Michael Hilton, named after the Hilton Hotel. Michael Hilton is from
not Paris. Thank you.
not Paris Hilton.
He's pretty hot too.
Yeah, he's from San Francisco, California, and he's got here. What do you got here? Fly Jack
96 by Firestone Walker. And Jeff, Mr. Zambello, feel like you would like this beer. It's by Firestone, 4% ABV. It's a citrus hazy crisp. James, you would like this. Gary, I think you would feel like this is okay. I feel like you feel like this would be okay. It's a hazy Indian Pale Ale, but it's a sessioner. So it's lower, even though it's very hoppy, which it is. It's quite low on the ABV. So you don't get a whole lot of sense of alcohol in there. You get next to none. That could be either safe or it could be dangerous. I don't know, but you take a sip, you do get dankness. Danny Knox says hi, and Progressive Discussion says welcome. If Danny's a girl, that feels great. Thank you very much. But
well, we're only doing this for intermission purposes. This is a serious show. But are you going to pour that or?
I did. Carbonation, no carbonation. It's really hazy at 4%. The haziness is unbelievably crystal clear. You get this huge sense of just how translucent the beer is, and it's dank. It's unbelievably dank at 4%. So then you get more hops on the beer.
Yeah,
which is
you know, it's amazing just how many different varieties of hops exist. That's what really amazes the crap out of me. I mean, it's are they hybrids? All the many hops that are out there?
They're not hybrids. They don't really do hybrids. What they just do is they discover hop. So Nelson Sauvin, for example, you would think because as a hyphen in the title, maybe it's a hybrid. Maybe it was evolved from another. No, it's just they discovered it. They know how hoppy it can get up to. They know the ABV that it can increase to. So I feel like people right now in the craft beer world, they're trying to get the most. We missed a comment from there, by the way. Safe and then.
Well, I listen. I tell people that our beer reviewing is during the Red Pill Piranha show every Friday night at about 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. We do beer reviews, but Sunday night is strictly a dead serious show combining left-wing democratic socialist politics with mysticism. Yes, we do the tarot card reading known as the State of the Union tarot card reading, followed by serious questions to the copper divining rods. So it's a Sunday night is a serious show. It's not like fun and games. We're not here for fun and games. But since Damian Owens is taking a bathroom break before he does his tarot card reading for the United States of America, the country, he's taking a bathroom break.
I'm back.
Okay, so anyway.
Can we do this Sierra Nevada Pale Ale? I mean, this one's pretty good. I'm giving it a 96.
No, do the Pale Ale after the tarot card reading.
Okay. So let's see here. What shall we have for the state of affairs of the United States? Well, I gotta say things have definitely taken a different path. And remember in one of the previous tarot card readings when I said something was going to come out of this? Yeah, something has come out of it. The protests, and rightfully so. And here in Tennessee, starting May 1st, we're going to start phasing in reopening stuff.
Okay, now what weren't there people unjustly arrested in Washington, D.C. for protesting?
Yes, they were. Now, I will say some of these protesters I'm not 100% for. Like, they're basically doing it because God, guns, America, all that. But that's only just a small, minute portion of the people protesting. The main reason why they're protesting is, you can only pull the wool over people's eyes for so long. They're basically just saying, okay, they've lied to us about the numbers. They have not been 100% honest with us. There have been low numbers across the board. Like, out of the people actually tested versus those who actually have the virus, it's very minute. Like, out of the total number tested versus active cases, less than 25% of people have actually gotten it. And out of those less than 25%, there's been an 80% recovery rate. So they're thinking, okay, maybe we were completely disproportionate in our reaction, and a lot of stuff we've done was completely knee-jerk, and we overreacted. Well, gee, you think? So that's what they're protesting for. That, they've not been truthful, that they've taken advantage of this crisis, and that they've been completely disproportionate in everything they've done. So that I support, because that actually is in line with what I've showed you. And plus, I've been up to date with the numbers, and I've been giving you the numbers day by day of everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
I'm still talking. I'm just shuffling the cards.
Yeah, he's shuffling the cards. Now, after the tarot card reading is complete, then Michael Hilton will crack open his Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Excellent beer.
And then I'll have my divining rods ready.
That beer is a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got the cards shuffled. So I'm going to do my typical 7-card spread. So let me just get that back over here. So let's see here. Oh, already I'm already seeing something very, very interesting. Wow, this is definitely much different as compared to the other ones we've had before. There's a lot of interesting cards with this. All right. Let me just get the box, and then we'll go ahead and dive in. So let's see what we got here. All right, so we have our reading ready. Just get this up out of the way here. All right, so I have the connection cards off here to the side because I don't really have a lot of room, but we have the state of affairs as being represented by this card. We have our typical past, present, future, and then outcome, and then I've got 3 cards over here I'm going to lay out. So first, let's start with the actual state of affairs. So right now we have the 9 of Wands, which is very interesting because there has been a lot of fear and hysteria and chaos over the past little bit. But now people are coming to their senses and realizing, you know what? We were definitely overreacting. It wasn't what they said it was. The official numbers they reported completely contradict what it is they're telling us. So now we're going to get back to acting like sane human beings. And also indicates back here, all these things we've been bombarded with, but now we have our own desires. Now we just want the truth and just getting back to normal. And looking back on it, that's why I'm coming to that conclusion. So, right now we have the Four of Swords as past. Now, this is not going too far back in the past. This is more of a recent past. We have the Four of Swords. That once all this blew over and that people come back to their senses, it's going to progress. All it is going to take just lying down and just being patient for a little bit. Well, now here's our present. We have the Three of Wands, which this card has actually shown up several times in previous readings. So now that we've figured out where it is we want to go, we're looking out into the open world. Now, where exactly this is going to take us, not really sure at this particular point, but obviously we're going to be going somewhere because now we see that everything we've been told is a lie. We acted like a bunch of twits and twats. So now let's just put our thinking caps back on and be logical. So it's going to be a little bit of a struggle the next little bit because now with all the serious talk of reopening the country, there's going to be a lot of opposition, not only from certain people, but also certain government entities. Like I was saying, here in Tennessee, starting May 1st, here in eastern Tennessee, we're going to slowly ease back into reopening things. Now, there have been measures by the mayor of Knoxville, who actually is the wrestler Kane, by the way. He's put forth his own set of guidelines of how he's going to reopen the city of Knoxville, as well as Knox County and the surrounding area. And even our mayor of Sullivan County and also the mayor of Kingsport is working in tangent with doing it. And there's a lot of support for it. But also in other places where there's talking about reopening, people are either so scared or they just want to just continue to push the lies and the bullshit they've been pushing. And it's just going to lead to more protests and things not going the way they should be. Now, ultimately, it's going to resolve itself because now we have the Ace of Swords. So, which means now there's going to be a new beginning out of all of this. Now, what exactly that is really yet to be determined. But I can definitely tell you, next time there's anything else like this, people are going to be much smarter and not so quick to react and just go overboard because they saw that maybe, just maybe, that government, or this particular government, is not going to be 100% truthful and is going to lie and deceive and do everything they can to make sure their positions are not undermined. Even if that means that they have the solution to the particular problem, and all it takes is just, doing a little this, little that, and then everything goes back to normal. But since it was fear and hysteria, and then just all this bullshit that happened, yeah, it is definitely going to be a new outcome. The way things were before, it ain't going to go back to normal. There's going to be a new conscious awakening, and I believe people are going to be way more cautious and wary about the next epidemic, or scamdemic as it really ought to be called, that they're going to make sure that before they do anything, everything is fact-checked and that everything is taken care of the way it should be taken care of, and that we don't run into this situation. So I see more preventative measures as well. Because like around here, I was also trying to find our official flu numbers. Believe it or not, the official flu numbers have dropped all across the board here in our area because of how so clean and sanitary we've been. So definitely something good has come out of it. Now, our connections. All right, so the past, we have the Two of Swords, meaning we've been just looking at everything just so blindly and just doing as what we've been told, but that's only just been the past to the present. Now, here is what is being represented by the present, the High Priestess. So, what makes the High Priestess very interesting is she represents mature feminine energy, but she likes to operate between the good and the bad. She likes to maintain balance and order in things. So now that reiterates what I've been saying, that now that we've seen the official numbers that they're reporting, that everything they've been saying is a lie, that all of this was just so out of proportion, that looking back on it, we're going to have a good laugh about it, but then yet, lesson learned. Now, what also makes it very interesting is we have the high priestess, but then yet we also have the empress, the card that follows it. So what makes this very interesting is, since we've got these two in succession, I definitely see now we're going to be seeing a rise in people's feminine energies. Not necessarily feminism, but doing more of the loving, the naturing or nurturing, that, okay, it was a mistake, we learned, but we're going to get through it, just never make the same mistake twice. Kind of like the way a mother would give her child a little tough love when need be. So yeah, that's the state of affairs for this week's tarot card reading. Definitely looking up, and it's going to be curious as to what happens exactly with these protests. I know I've been following the protests here in the U.S., but apparently they're also breaking out around the world. And in fact, over in Germany, it got pretty violent. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but definitely this is not something to sneeze or to just dismiss. Something is definitely on the horizon, and it's something new, and it's going to be inevitable at this point.
Okay, so that concludes this week's State of the Union tarot card reading. I assume. We have some comments from Jeff Zambello or questions towards Damien DeWolf Owens. Here we have Damien. I appreciate you in-depth explanations. You are well read and informed. However, I would love to see a major revolution via these protests at the various governor's offices of Bastille Day. All right, I would like to see more proactivity with in a more aggressive manner. I agree with these protests. I want to see lots of bloodshed all over the streets at these various political protests from the anti-stay-at-homers. Well, it's not just that. The system is shot. We already know the political parties are corrupt beyond repair. The system is no good. So it's not just the anti-stay-at-homers. The system needs to be fixed. Damien, the next pandemic, I hope people react and behave much better. But as James can attest at Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, the millennials do not care about social distancing, etc. No, they actually don't. But I'm sure they have grandparents and, older generation relatives at home that they can infect. Damien, I totally agree. Everything is much cleaner nowadays. Most pandemic, well, the roads are quiet as hell over here. I mean, I took a walk and I was able to daydream and think about anything I want. I had no distractions. Everything has gotten really peaceful. Mature feminine energy, ? Regarding the High Priestess of Tarot cards, that sounds like feminist empowerment with signature series wooden clubs. No, it's not. It's not feminism. Try to give him a brief explanation on what that card represents, the High Priestess.
Okay, so it's not feminist as in the feminazi type stuff. It's mature feminine energy as in more of like a mothering type thing. But then yet it could also be just a male tapping into their feminine side and being a bit more like loving and nurturing, or in some instances giving it like a little tough love, but from more like a mother's perspective, depending upon like what it is. Now it'd be something more like okay, yeah, I understand, honey, you made a mistake, I'm here to comfort you, but then yet let's just learn from our mistakes and not make the same mistake twice. It's along those lines type mature feminine energy.
Okay. All right, that explains it. Now, I brought out the natural amethyst stone to increase psychic abilities and connection with the astral world because I have the copper divining rods out. So I got the amethyst here for magnifying the power. Now, Damien, thank you much. Okay, thank you, Jeff Zambello. Now, a little miniature intermission from Michael Hilton with his pale ale. What do you think, Michael Hilton?
I think it's time for a pale ale, even though it's late on a Sunday night. Well, not really late. It's still kind of late. I'm not feeling an IPA. I'm feeling a good pale ale. And using a very chilled Stein glass. I've reviewed this beer many times, but for the sake of synchronicity, we'll do it again. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, 5 point. Well, I think it's 5.6% ABV with 38 IBUs. So not the hoppiest beer ever, but it's, even 0 IBUs. You can still get bitterness on there. So 38 IBUs, you could say that is quite a bit. It's not even a bottle. It's a can. They sell it in a can. That in my mind is the best way to sell beer.
Now, where is the Sierra Nevada brewery located?
It's located in Chico, California, and Mills River, North Carolina. So it's a bi-state. It's a bi-state brewery.
Bi-coastal.
Bi-coastal brewery. All right, it is pouring out nice, thick.
Oh, it looks very colorful. It looks very nice.
You like the orange beers, James?
Yeah, I like any beer that looks like a fruit smoothie. Plus, I like dark beers. Michael Hill's brain cells have been invigorated by those extra hops.
Yeah, but they've also fucking been deteriorated. But I very much appreciate that though. 4-finger whitehead, orange, high body beer, bubble stock nut rosin. Feel like Damien would like this beer a lot. You and Damien would both very, very much like this beer out of
Well, Damien has a plan in the works. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's exciting.
Cascade hops. Definitely getting the Cascade hops. Cascade hops are exciting. Damien, you excited? This is a pretty good beer. It's you get Cascade hops in here. You think you also get just smelling that yeast. So let's get into it. Cheers.
Cheers. Cascade hops.
Supercharged hops, Jeff Zambello says. Yeah, Cascade hops are supercharged hops. Guys, this is amazing. I love this beer. I'm almost out of the 20-pack of this.
Did you notice a nutritional supplement made from hops, an extract of hops?
No. Tell me more.
No, it's been so long ago. I totally forgot what the function was. I have to look it up.
So what's it? Yeah, James, you're big on the nutrition.
Yeah, I have to look it up.
But I feel like you're also big on nutrition, and I feel like you know the nutritional value of hot peppers, for example.
Hot peppers is in cayenne and all of them. They're
black pepper even.
They're excellent for the cardiovascular system, the circulation. They're very rich in vitamin C and beta carotene, vitamin A. Much more so than citrus fruits. They blow away citrus fruits. So
just say hot peppers are very citrusy. They're very floral. They act a lot like a beer in a way. I mean, but if you look at Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, this is a great pale ale. It's legendary for a reason, and I don't know because it's not the hoppiest beer, but they keep the hops at appropriate. IPAs are supposed to be the hoppy beers. Pale ales are not really meant to be hoppy. You might get a feeling of that, but that's just yeast. It's just yeast that's in the beer. It has a high yeastiness, a bit of a hop resin, even at bordering on 6%. You know, it's quite sessionable. I would say it's also quite a sessionable beer. It means you're going to run out of your pack pretty soon, but it's a pretty session. It has a jelly feel, so it's some apricot in there. We get some apricot. It's very bready. It's very full, thick with the mouth feel. Relatively hoppy, but I really just like the smoothness of it. I really like the smoothness of it. Mini whiskey. We got a mini whiskey on the channel. I always give this one just 100 out of 100. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, 100 out of 100 with a high of 104 out of 100 for the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Wow, that's some rating.
That's my final rating. I'm not rating this beer anymore. I'm not reviewing this beer anymore.
All right. Yeah, you did enough. You did it before, and you did it again, and yeah, for an encore. All right. So, some divining rod questions. Copper divining rods. Were Bernie Sanders' advisors really working for the oligarch-controlled DNC when they gave him the wrong advice to quit?
Oh, shit.
That was fast. Was Barack Obama also sent by the oligarch-controlled DNC to get Bernie Sanders to quit a tad bit early? Did Barack Obama do the same thing? Because I know he had private meetings with Bernie Sanders in 2016. Did he try the same sabotaging of the grassroots revolution in 2016? That son of a bitch, that arrogant, control, greedy motherfucker. Is Barack Obama a corrupt, corporatist, control freak, scrawny, greedy little Uncle Tom motherfucker? Yeah, copper divining rods. And it writes itself. I don't have to like position it to the original position. It does it on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so Barack Obama's private meetings was for the purpose, like his advisors, to get him to capitulate early. Yeah. Now, Bernie Sanders, being that he's not a child, being that he's in his late 70s, was there any did anyone grease his palm coming from the DNC? Like was he paid off to quit early? Is it because is he a coward and a traitor because he's a geek and a dork, and these are not usually real men? Yeah. Does he take the payoffs fast because he's a fucking Jew? Yeah, he's a cocksucker is what he is. He's a cocksucker. What are you? Smoothest of the pale ale. All right. Now, the protests. What took place against the protesters that have a right to protest? Was this the beginnings of fascism that they are trying to implement? Yes. Fashion.
Yep. And I knew there was something dark and sinister behind it, and that's just the beginning of it.
That's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. Are we divining rods? Is this the beginning of something more severe and sinister to come? Yes. Interesting. So what we have is the fireplace. What we have is the furnace and the frying pan between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Is that pretty much what we have? So the oligarch, with their influence, wins again. Is that true, Divining Rods? Are we the people? Is our only hope the Second Amendment, to arm we the people for against a rogue government? Yes.
Well, I'm already 3 steps ahead. Got my AK, my shotgun, and my pistol.
They're agreeing with Damien on that.
So in other words, the oligarch, we greatly outnumber the oligarch, Divining Rods. Is that true?
Is Trump a piece of shit?
Is Donald Trump a piece of shit all around?
Oh my God, that
Through and through. Is he a dumb motherfucker like his kids? Well, he's the father. Yeah. Now, is he a corrupt, crooked bastard in real life? Yeah. Now, is Dr. Fauci up to no good? You know, Dr. Fauci, the infectious disease celebrity. Yeah. Does that malaria drug, along with zinc, high amounts of zinc and Z-Pack, really work? Yes. So are they?
Why would they say yes on that?
Hold on. Are they covering up this combination that's been successful all over the world because they're trying to come out with a Bill Gates vaccine? Yes. So that motherfucker is trying to capitalize on this. Hold on. He's still talking about booze? No. This is not a booze show. This is a serious show about humanity and politics. Oh, divine copper, divining rods. Was Jane Sanders in receipt of any paybacks to keep Bernie in the clear? Was Jane Sanders approached by anyone monetarily to sway her husband's decision on quitting?
Fucking hell.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, Michael Hill. When they come together, that means yes. When they spread apart, that means no.
It means no.
Okay, let's see. Jeff Zambello says, "Oh, divine copper, divining rods. Will sleepy Joe Biden cave in to Dana Bash of CNN to appoint a female VIP? If so, who? Chelsea Clinton, care of Tom Perez? No, he's not going to pick Chelsea Clinton. Yeah, Jeff Zambello is quite the humorous man sometimes. Oh, divine copper rods.
Will Brooke Baldwin get better?
Well, hold on. What will happen to?
I don't want to marry Brooke Baldwin.
Yeah. Now, when are you gonna? When is Paris Hilton gonna suck me off? What? Oh, divine copper rod.
Shut up.
What will happen to? What will happen to Donald Trump's massive empire of hotels if business does not open up soon. Is Donald Trump, does he want to open up all businesses because he cares about his own resorts and hotels? Yeah, of course. So everything Donald Trump does, it's self-motivated. He just cares about himself. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Will Brooke Baldwin get better? Ronnie S. That's down with the absolutely down with the feminists.
All right, Brooke Baldwin. Now, Brooke Baldwin.
Will Brooke Baldwin get better?
I'm trying to picture why she's sick.
She's taken, unfortunately. But will she get better?
Why she's sick?
Yeah, she tested positive for coronary.
Brooke Baldwin. Is she related to Alec Baldwin?
No, what? It's a possibility. It's possible. Don't know.
And you said she's married?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, why don't you with all those California girls? I'm sure you'll hook up with lots of them.
Yes, but I feel like a New York girl might be a nice.
You want a New York girl? Oh my God!
They're not about the Me Too stuff half the time.
I want a California chick. How are the girls in Chinatown in San Francisco? How are the Asian girls? Are they look like Lucy Liu?
They're okay. What I would say, I hit up other neighborhoods. I'm trying to leave Asian women alone right now.
Hotels do not fill up by themselves.
Do not fill up by themselves.
Well, fill them up with people who test positive, and then the whole country will drop dead.
Oh man, Brooke Baldwin without makeup is uglier than her boutique French boy. Hey, John.
Well,
that is hilarious.
Let me tell you something. If you saw photos of celebrities without their cosmetics, they look plain and washed out.
Oh, I have a bit of a crush on Brooke Baldwin. I keep fucking saying her name, but it's just I have a bit of a crush on her. I wish she wasn't married.
I have a bit of a crush on crushing things. Divine.
Yeah, me too.
Do I have a crush on when I crush things? Is it like getting a boner? Yeah. I think Damien feels the same way.
This isn't Red Pill, so I can't express some dismay about that.
That's actually pretty funny because you know what that would mean? That'd mean in the BDSM world, you would be a dom, no doubt about it.
Well, a dom, are they the ones that put that red ball in somebody's mouth and gag them?
Yeah, that's part of the role play for a dom to do a sub, yeah.
And they wear a dog collar and they get on all fours?
Depending upon that can go either way.
Now, I could picture Michael Hilton as a male dominatrix with these girls that he's always like yelling about.
They come and they go. It's just what we'll say is that we have too much. Again with that feminism, as Ronnie S. said. Haley Baldwin.
Haley Baldwin, who's she?
No, I don't know. But we have too much feminism. I've had a couple times just talking to the opposite gender, and it seems like everything's going well. Then next thing you know, they complained about somebody, and it's just freaking whack. We have too much feminism in today's society. We have too much political correctness in today's society. Being an adult doesn't mean that you have to put up with everything that you don't like.
Well, I hope the Baldwins have a full head of hair because their last name is Baldwin. Mike Hilton needs to watch for the corona if he wants a New York City girl. My suggestion is that he stays in outside of San Francisco, and he
California, we did not get hit that hard. Sorry, James, but we did not. Just this fucking thing did not get us.
Do you know why?
Right.
You know why? You have a good progressive governor. That's why.
That is fucking why. Why I like Andrew Cuomo.
Now, what do you think, Divining Rise? Do you like California's progressive governor? Now, when Arnold Schwarzenegger always brags about staying home, and his home is like real beautiful with an in-ground pool and everything, and a lot
Easy.
of what?
Easy for him to say. That's what pisses me off.
Stay at home, and he probably has like a jacuzzi built in and an Olympic pool.
His home looks like what people experienced in the world before this. You know, it's easy for the rich people to talk about this. I'm a little bit rich. It's easy for me to say, but what about everybody who, you know, Damien? What about everybody who's homeless or who, people who have a low income?
Now you got Sly Stallone saying, "Oh, stay at home. Stay at home." Hey, Adrian, it's easy. Look, I'm at home. Look at me. I got luxuries all over the place. You know, I mean, these guys, it's easy for them to talk. You're right. You know, like, you know who was it Tom Steyer? He's the only one, even though he's a billionaire, he's the only one that sounded progressive outside of Bernie Sanders. I really don't understand why he vanished. I don't.
Well, that was because he didn't do that well in the South Carolina Democratic primary.
Wait a minute. Did sleepy, creepy Joe Biden do well in the southern states because of the black population in southern states? Is it because of his connection to Barack Obama?
Barack Obama?
Yes. Is it because Barack Obama is half black? Is that the reason why they voted for creepy pedophile dementia Joe Biden? Yes. Is it because, do they do this because they're dumber than a bag of rocks? Yes. Are they naturally brain cell deficient? Oh wow, that was a quick yes. Are they so they're not, is inbreeding involved in their lack of brain cells?
Oh yeah, West Virginia and Arkansas, it's talking about you.
Oh, Arkansas, they do them things too?
Well, apparently in Arkansas, everybody knows everybody, so you assume it's just one big family in Arkansas. And West Virginia, we've already had our discussion about West Virginia, how it broke away, and one of the reasons why was because of inbreeding.
Let me ask a question about Ronnie S. Does Ronnie S sound conservative many times because he just does it to be the opposite of us and to bust our balls?
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. We bust other people's balls. We get our balls busted. 'Tis life. And as my shirt says, it is what it is.
But Ronnie S, like in reality, Ronnie S more to the left than he wants us to believe. Yes. So he just does it to bust our balls, basically, right? He's a ball buster. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we are too, so he really can't say anything.
Yeah, but we bust conservative balls because they deserve it. Because they're no damn good. They're evil. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They really suck. I mean, or like I say, like it says here, capitalism blows.
Yeah, but I do want to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
About that, wait, Gary. Sorry, Gary.
All I was going to say is I do want to get back to something that Jeff was talking about the protesters and hoping that it breaks out into revolution.
Yeah.
Well, a second civil war or another revolution in this country, it's going to happen. It's all just going to be a matter of what is going to be the spark and what is going to add fuel to the fire. At this point, I don't think revolution is ripe or it's going to happen right now. But seeing how everything has transpired, that the wool is being pulled off of people's eyes, they're really coming to their senses about this, that given the opportunity that our particular government and capitalism will do anything and everything it can in its power to brainwash, to manipulate, and to control, to make sure that its interests are not undermined and that its particular class interests are not undermined. So if that means creating something to quarrel any rebellion or to scare a populace back into submission for them even having the thought of rebelling against the very fucking system and government that has not worked for them for the longest time and isn't working for them at this time and never will. Yeah, it's all just been controlled chaos from the get-go. And with these protesters saying, you know what, you may have fooled some people, but you're not fooling us. Yeah, that I love because, like I said, there's only so much you can do to fool people before they begin to go, wait a moment, just hold up a second here. There's only so far fear goes before they begin to say, you know, should I really be afraid of this, or should other people really be afraid of this? And then it starts rolling down the hill. So now we've gotten to the point of, okay, we've seen that this isn't what it is. It's been a scamdemic from the very get-go, and that they've been leading us down this primrose path of fear and hysteria. They've been brainwashing, manipulating, controlling us, feeding us lies and bullshit day in and day out. And I think they've overdone it because now people are starting to question and people are starting to protest and seeing, you know what? This was a scamdemic. This was just an excuse to do what you've been trying to do all along, and we're not having it, and they're standing up for it. Now that I love.
I mean, they were very. I thought they were very unfair and overreacting when the colleges were protesting the Vietnam War. What was that other incident? Kent State, the Kent State.
Yeah,
I mean, protesting is part of the First Amendment. I mean,
yeah, it is.
but since the fascists want to deny us that right to protest, that's when the Second Amendment comes in, and
Yeah, exactly. So right now we need our rights more than what we've ever needed them because now, I hate to say it, our rights are really under attack. They really genuinely are from all directions. That just goes to show you that you can't trust the Republicans, you cannot trust the Democrats to not only adhere to your interests, but to make sure that your rights and your freedoms are not undermined. Because do you really honestly think they give a flying fuck about your rights and your freedoms? No, they don't. All they want to care about is their rights and their freedoms, and whatever they want to do is whatever they want to do. And when they write these laws that take away from us, do you think it affects them? No, because you know what they do? They write the laws very specifically to where it exempts them, and even if they don't make the exemption for themselves, they can put themselves above the law because they themselves are the ones who wrote it. So they can make any change to what they want to it at any time. So I just hope people realize now before it's too late that really all along it was a scamdemic. This was just an excuse to control people, and that now it is time to fight back. Because if we don't, they're just going to keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing before they're going to get bit way too hard. So revolution is coming. This is not going to be the spark, but it is definitely going to make people more aware and more cautious before they start instilling power and trust into the government that we have now, to say the least. which is a wise move nonetheless.
Well, people better wake up, man. We need that third party that does not accept money from the fat cats. That third people's party. We need it, but nobody. I don't see anybody creating it. I don't see anybody creating it. There's a lot of cowards out there that or paid off people out there.
That's not the issue with that, though, is that the third party tends to split off the Democratic vote. Even if that's
fuck the Democratic. The Democrats are corrupt. They're no damn good. Are the Democrats of today and the DNC totally corrupted, just like the Republicans? Yes. The deprivation of votes for the Democrats or Republicans, is this a big excuse not to create a third people's party?
yes.
Is this a way of keeping democratic socialism out of the country, which is the only system that works for the 98%? Yes. Is Bernie Sanders a traitor and a coward in reality? Yes. In the old days, would they rough him up real good, and rightfully so in the old days?
Rightfully.
Yeah, rightfully. Not rifle like a gun, rightfully so. Yeah, no, traitors deserve to get their legs broken in several places. After what he put the people through, getting we the people all excited, and he does this, and now we have to settle for more capitalism. So does this mean we have to settle for more of this capitalism, this corrupt capitalism? Yes. Does this country really suck with its system? Yes. So this country, so we need the super volcano to blow and take out all these motherfuckers. Yes. Is this why they call me James Piranha Madonna? Because I don't pull any punches?
Yes.
Oh, you beat the copper rods. Well, it agrees with you. Agrees with you again. So I don't pull any punches. Does any other show have tarot cards and copper divining rods? Does any other show?
Oh, they did. They almost said yes, but then they changed their mind.
No. It didn't go across. So in other words, this is the most unique,
what I mean,
live streamed political talk show, the most unique of its kind in the universe. Not just the Milky Way galaxy, but the universe. Yes. So I was right all along. Yes. And Damien DeWolf Owens will become a famous tarot card reader in the future. Famous. Yes. Oh, I thought so. I knew it. I knew
Right.
it.
Well, there's just one more quick point I do want to make, and then I'll probably be out of points for right now. So I do want to say, but what's the comment say? Damien, God bless you. Elitists do not care about anyone else but themselves and go into elected offices to rewrite laws, rules, and policy for their benefit and power. Fucking men. Glad to see we're all on the same page here. But the last point I do want to make when James was asking about the Second Amendment. So, yes, the Second Amendment itself is a very complex amendment, just like all the other amendments that we have in the Bill of Rights. But then yet, it also says in the very U.S. Constitution that if you feel as though that the country and the government is not being ran the way that it should be, whether it's tyrannical, oppressive, or just flat out incompetent, that you have the right to keep and bear arms for any reason, and that you also have the right to trash and overthrow your government, install a brand new one, Or also, if need be, if you don't want to do anything that drastic, you can have the right and the means to govern yourself. Because at this point, if they're not going to do anything except just corrupt and destroy and just brainwash, manipulate, and control, you know what? Fuck them. Fuck them all.
All
Take
right, the whiskey.
matters into your own hands. Govern yourself. Live life how you want to, and make decisions for yourself. I know that sounds rough and hard for some people to do, but at this point, just do it. Try it.
The
See
whiskey.
what you think.
Damien, totally agree. Whiskey Scout, everyone, let's destroy the world and let the worms eat.
You know what? I want to introduce everyone to the one and only, the great Whiskey Scout. This man from the state of Kansas is one of the foremost authorities on whiskey and hard liquor in general, and his collection is right now he's competing with Ronald J. Theriot in his collection. But as far as knowledge goes, the Whiskey Scout is number one when it comes to hard liquor. Hard liquor. Hard.
Yeah.
All right. What else does Whiskey Scout say? Only satanic ones. You know, this is the devil's world. This is Satan's world. There's no doubt about that. If you believe in that sort of stuff, Jeff Zambello says martial law will occur with the abolishment of the Second Amendment.
They will try, but they will fail. I will say is if they try, they will fail.
Hey Gary, did you know that in Canada, they do not guarantee a right to bear arms in their country?
Yeah, so many other countries do, which is why, in all honesty, I fucking hate them, because I don't care who you are, where you're from, you deserve to have the fundamental rights that every human being on this planet deserves. Like, you deserve the right to free speech. You deserve the right to have your own privacy, the right against unreasonable search and seizure, the right against self-incrimination, the right to a fair and speedy trial, the right to face your accuser, the right to education, the right to health care, the right to a job, the right to a livable wage, all of that. Those are fundamental, basic human rights every human being on this planet deserves. And then also the right to keep and bear arms to not only defend yourself, but to defend your country and also to defend what it is you believe in.
I'm in California. It's like all I get to have, and I don't know if this.
Yeah, which is why California is terrible, and why I support New California breaking off from regular California so it can fix its problems. Just like with what Brexit did for the United Kingdom, so now they can split off from the EU and solve their own problems that a lot of the EU brought to them.
That Gary, not that. Just let people bear arms if they want to for a change, and don't make it such a intense pre-screening process. I want to fucking own a gun right now.
Yeah.
Well, in Tennessee, the Second Amendment is respected. But
it is.
Getting back to Whiskey Scout, it's interesting what he said. Let's say there's a farm nearby, and the farmer's daughter is real hot looking, and she's always flirting with, let's say, Whiskey Scout. And she's really hot looking. She's like 21, 22. But she's married to this ugly looking this bum that abuses her all the time.
Married at 21 or 22.
With Whiskey Scout's law, he could bump him off, and the hot girl will be his. I mean, it sounds good. No, I'm not. No, I'm not James. I know a little about a little. No, I don't know. I don't know a lot about booze.
Somebody married at 21. That is fucked.
No. This guy does know a lot about booze. Just like Eric Fraunfelter knows a lot about craft beer. Thomas Metal 75. The only thing is when he says good night, he doesn't say good night, gentlemen. He just goes bing.
Yeah, that's typical Eric for you.
Yeah, he goes bing. He disappears like a nanosecond.
Oh yeah, but one more last quick point is a lot of people are wanting to buy guns, especially in very hard hit strict gun control areas, and they're getting very pissed off at the very laws they enacted and passed, and realizing, oh, there's a weight limit, or oh, you can't get this, or oh, you can't get that. then you have to have this, you have to have that. And they're just like, what the fuck? And it's like, yeah, you voted to pass these laws. So guess what? Deal with the consequences that follow, because you all supported this. Let's see,
Yeah,
Marshall.
I can't believe I have to
Law
live.
only works until you have to enforce it on your family. Then it falls apart unless you're a psychopath.
I can't believe I have to live in a state where California's awesome, but I feel like because we are not an open carry state, we're more vulnerable, and that goes into the whole argument of what stops a good guy with a gun, what stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he's
Sometimes that
densely
argument
popular.
actually holds up. Sometimes that argument actually holds up. What Wayne LaPierre said, because you look at what happened in the church in Texas. Sometimes it does work, and I don't want to be left with a fucking bet when it seems like
Yeah,
when
exactly.
a disaster happens and all I have is this shit, and I don't have something like a little bit more.
Now Jeff Zambello brought up
I had.
Jeff Zambello brought up a very good point that I personally experienced it. Now, political correctness as a white male, I was told.
Thank you very much on this, by the way.
What?
I agree with Damien on the right to bear arms very much on this, by the way.
Oh yeah, me too. Now what happens is that what is that sound? Ugh. Political correctness arranges it that if you happen to be a heterosexual Caucasian male, you cannot apply for all the same programs compared to a woman of color, especially if she has children. If she's a single mother, forget about it. She can apply for everything. And I've been through that situation where they told me, James, you don't apply. You cannot apply for most of this stuff because you're a heterosexual Caucasian male and you have no dependents.
Oh, what they brought?
Yeah, just oh boy.
Yeah, a Whiskey Scout probably has a good answer. In California, it is only illegal if you get caught.
Yeah, it's only illegal if you get caught. Yeah, I know that argument. But yeah, getting back to what Jeff Zambello was talking about. So, well, there's never going to be a point to where it's going to be 100% political correctness free. Now, to be fair, you have to have a certain very small amount of political correctness, especially when it comes to political ideas, concepts, definitions, etc. Because if you don't, then anything can mean anything to anyone, and there will be no universal definition or acceptance of what something is. Now, with what the feminazis are doing, and what other racists and also other sexists are doing, is they're taking it very, very far, and they're going out of control with the political correctness. And to bust some misconceptions about sexism and racism is liberal and conservative media only want to portray it in a very one or two-sided perspective. Like, it's only a man versus woman thing about sexism, or racism is only a black versus white thing. Well, with sexism or racism, it can happen from one race to another, or even sometimes it can happen among its own race. Like, I know it sounds weird, but a white person can be racist towards another white person, and also a black person can be racist to another black person, or a black person can be just as equally racist as a white person to all other races. And then also with sexism, although it doesn't really happen all that much, yeah, most times sexism is between a man doing it to a woman, but there's instances where a woman can do it to a man, like with this feminism Nazi bullshit. But also sometimes a man can be sexist to another man, or a woman can be sexist to another woman, which they do not want to talk about because that does not fit their main line and agenda they want to shove down our throats.
Well, in a black community, dark black darker blacks have been racist towards lighter skinned blacks. That does occur.
Oh yeah. When somebody says not black enough or
That does occur, and also occurs in Latin America, like let's say Telemundo, or any of the Spanish stations. If you notice, the weather ladies that are scantily clad are always light skinned. They're always light skinned. They're not dark. So they do the same thing in Latin America.
had that comment for a second, guys, about sexism. Is that if you look at all the women in Sports Illustrated magazines, and it requires that they look and they dress in a skimpy, foxy, sexy way.
Well, that's for ratings. They do that for ratings.
What's that?
They do that for ratings. That's why they're scantily clad.
But they're only celebrated based off their looks. They're not celebrated based off their actual talent. So there was a guy. He was a coach, and he, I think it was Vanessa Williams, and was a guy named Jeff, not you, Jeff Zambello, but it was another guy I think named Jeff, and he kept alerting her about how her performance was going, and by the end of the game, that coach had just single-handedly contributed to one of the Williams sisters' just great losses in history.
Mm-hmm.
Telling her, basically, you're here because you look good, not because of your talent or your actual natural skills.
It happens in show business all the time. In the music industry, sure. Now, all white men. These are people like old, ugly, turtle-faced Mitch McConnell that keep getting reelected. There really is a lot of old white geezers in the Senate. To be honest with you, I believe in term limits for everything, even Supreme Court justices.
What do you think about how Trump went after Angus King the other day and said, "Oh, Angus King isn't an independent; he's a Democrat"? What do you guys think about James, Damien? What do you guys think about that?
Trump just grabs thoughts out of the air, whatever.
Yeah, Trump has no brain-to-mouth filter. He thinks it, he says it. Now, speaking of Trump, what I find very interesting is the feud between Cuomo and Trump that seems to be going on right now. I can tell you, on the surface, it's all just a facade. It's a show. I guarantee you that it's all just, for the cameras, but I guarantee you behind closed doors, just like all the rest of them, they're buddies with each other. And I guarantee you, just because of the fact of they're New Yorkers, they know each other and they get along and they have their own agendas they want to push for.
It's like professional wrestling. That's exactly what happens in professional wrestling. Oh, hell yeah, I am prejudiced. I can't stand stupid people regardless of race.
Well, prejudice is one thing. Prejudice is not necessarily the same as like hatred or racist or sexist. Prejudice is more along the lines of you might have an inherent bias or dislike of a particular type of person because of stereotypes, for example. Like a common argument would be like someone from the South being like, "Oh, I don't like people up north because they're all always in a rush and they're just so yuppity and uppity about everything." And the same things like northern people about southern people. They're all just a bunch of backwood hillbillies and rednecks and are so unsophisticated and so illiterate they couldn't tell their own ass from a hole in the ground. That would be prejudice.
Yeah. Well, then what I would say if I was a Southerner, I would say, well, why are people in New York City in such a hurry to do everything? Are you trying to help make somebody else more wealthy than they are? I mean, why are you running around like ants in an ant farm? I mean,
yeah.
They could say the same thing. Now, I hate stupid people in general. There are people that don't do that. they could use common sense. They could have street smarts, and they don't have to be brilliant. But as long as they have common sense and some street smarts, I could respect them. But they don't have to have a high IQ. But what do you got there, Michael Hilton?
Oh, thank you very much. I hear you on common sense, by the way. I can't stand, sorry, Gary, but I can't stand COVID creepers. I dealt with somebody like that earlier today, and
COVID creepers.
he was bothering me about the whole thing of who gets the sidewalk first. And I was already there first, fuck off. And he didn't even have a mask on. He was doing that creepy, sunglass hat combination. Some guys think that looks cool. If you're trying to attract ladies, even if you already have one, I almost fucking guarantee you that. No, I guarantee you that does not look that cool. And he was just being weird. He was being weird. He was totally denying the whole thing, and he was arguing with me about the sidewalk, using that as a way to start this whole brawl and instigate this whole incident. Anyway, fuck entitled people, but. Union Jack IPA. I fucking hate entitled people. I want to drop them like a bad habit. But Union Jack IPA, 7%, 70 IBUs. 70 IBUs, guys. It's a one finger white head, orange.
Very pleasing to the eyeball. Eye candy. Very nice.
I had a feeling you'd say that because I know that you like the orange beers, James.
Yeah. Now I know what Jeff Zambella was saying. The word white. Why do they have to say old white men in the Senate? They're probably referring to the establishment. That's what he's probably meant.
Yeah, that, and it's the whole entire liberal narrative. It's all white men's fault as to why we're in the situation that we're in. Forget that, this is a class-based system. We should look at things more from a class perspective, like class antagonisms. No? Okay, just only be very narrow one-sided and just be a liberal feminazi. Okay, I see how it is.
If anybody's to blame, it's not white people. It's not white people. If you're going to blame anybody, you could blame China. I mean, a lot of people saying this is where I disagree a little bit, and I agree more with Trump. He says that it's the Wuhan virus, and I agree. It's from Wuhan. You look at a lot of these viruses; they're called that because as far as we know, and I know we've had this discussion a million times, but they're from that place. So I agree with him on that. I very much agree with him on that.
Well, getting back to what Damien said about it's a class warfare situation. It's a class warfare. It always has been. It's not about race.
Just admit that you are responsible for the virus. If there was a virus in America, you could call it the America virus.
Right, but they can't even locate patient zero. They only suspect or they believe it came from Wuhan. They don't even know where the fuck this virus has even come from. They can't even definitively pinpoint where it's come from. They suspect Wuhan, but they can't definitively prove it because they've really yet to actually locate the real patient zero that got all this started.
Yeah, because there were some people who were testing positive in America without anybody coming into contact with anybody.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was telling James about this. So the other day, the wife and I, we went out to Subway, and one of our favorite sandwich makers was working that night. She's a very cool girl. She's married like me and her, but she's, I think, a little bit older than us. I'd say she's probably in her maybe late 20s, early 30s. But she was talking about this whole entire scamdemic, and she was like, are we sure we didn't already have it to a certain point? Because she was telling me that her husband had come down with this very strange sickness, and he tried self-treating as much as he could at home. Well, eventually the self-treating just was not working. So they went to the emergency room, and he had all sorts of blood work drawn from him, and the labs ran a multitude of tests. and they tried to pinpoint the exact virus or what kind of sickness he had. They ran just the regular flu. They ran strep. They ran what else there? If you could think of it, that would go along the signs and symptoms of a really bad case of the flu. They ran that test on it. All the tests came back negative. So eventually they just ruled it as a virus of unknown origin and unknown cause.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they ruled it as, because they ran tests for everything and nothing came back positive.
What was the result?
The result was virus of unknown origin and unknown cause. That was the official result because they couldn't pinpoint what kind of virus he had. There was no record and no mentioning of this.
Yeah.
Well, I have to interrupt about this comment that the only time that the United States borders were ever threatened were during World War II.
Exactly.
No other war, no other time where the United States itself and its citizens and its borders were ever threatened. And that's it. That's it. I mean, the military-industrial complex is big business, and it loves to send poor kids and middle-class kids, young people.
What do you think about the mass shooting over in Nova Scotia earlier this weekend? There was a mass shooting. 10 confirmed deceased in Nova Scotia.
Different subject. Hold on for a second. It's big business. They send young men and women from poor families and middle-class families to put their lives on the line so the military-industrial complex can make a fortune. So World War II is the only time our borders were threatened. That's it. All right. What were you saying about Nova Scotia?
Breaking news.
All right. War of 1812. You're right. Whiskey Scout's right. War of 1812, and where they burned the White House, and WW2. Yeah. Right, exactly. Well, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had suddenly moved to the center, which means she pretty much is a traitor to her progressive supporters. So she's another traitor.
What do you think about what happened in Canada?
Like J-Lo from Bronx.
We'll get to that.
A Spanish chick from Bronx, New York, talking a lot of shit and then accepting the big mamu, the big payoff. Yeah. It's a good thing that Jeff mentioned OAC because I forgot to trash her. Well, I'm doing it now. She's another traitor.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. No one should be surprised about the fact that her and Bernie have sold out that really, no matter how far to the left the Democrats may seem, at the end of the day, they're not real socialists. At the end of the day, they're still going to support capitalism. If that means just maybe getting rid of the inherent evils and flaws of said capitalism, and basically just getting the concessions out of it, just so that way people are pacified and don't rebel against the very system. That's basically what Bernie Sanders did all along, was he was advocating for, okay, well, we'll get you the health care, we'll get you the education, we'll get you the better paying jobs, just don't rebel against the system.
Yeah.
They're still capitalists. Oh, by the way, the founding fathers, when they said all men are created equal, what they really meant is all rich white men are created equal.
Mm-hmm. Now go fetch me a sandwich.
Because they had slaves. Women didn't really have any rights.
They didn't.
So it's rich white men were created equal. So everybody who brags about the founding fathers and George Washington chopping down the cherry tree and all that bullshit I learned in history class. He probably never chopped down the cherry tree. It's all a bunch of horse shit. The history books are a waste of taxpayers.
What do you guys think about Canada though? Like what happened in Canada? Why is
Well,
on neighbors?
I really just do not like it whenever there's a mass shooting, because at the end of the day, those of us who like guns are the ones that get the blame for it. And it's like, oh, if only, there wasn't so many guns out there wouldn't be this problem. When in fact, Canada has a much better overall infrastructure system as compared to ours. And yes, they have stricter gun control laws, but that's not the reason why they have fewer mass shootings as compared to us. It's just with the way their healthcare system is set up, they have greater safety nets for people to where, they don't have to necessarily have to forego a second mortgage on a home or do like a home equity loan or basically bury themselves in irreparable debt just to get the healthcare service they need, where they actually treat healthcare as a basic human right, like it rightfully deserves to be. So that way, if there is someone who is having a mental crisis, that they can get the help they need, or they can get the adequate treatment that they so desire or need. The exact opposite of the U.S., which is why if you look at the way our society is, it's completely fucked up. Like everything about our society is either one extreme or the other. Like we have the most amount of wealth with the most amount of debt. We have the highest rate of obesity, yet the highest rate of hunger of any first world developed nation. And then yet we have all these other extremes one way or another. It's a wonder that our society is so physically and psychologically sick, and why people go out and they kill other people. I mean, it's because of the mental health issues, because of how we're bombarded day in and day out.
For a second, I was in San Francisco, and I'm somebody who tries to get along with, not just white people but diverse people. And this guy over at IHOP one day was coming at me and was accusing me, and he came outside of the restaurant to try to start this whole assault incident going on.
Right.
Had to intervene, and I just feel like the owner said he's a little bit crazy, whatever. I mean, that's a reason, but another reason is that maybe some people are nutritionally deficient. And that's why I agree with you, Damien, on the whole virus, is that the virus will get you if you don't have the immune system to really combat it. If you choice. It's a choice. If you have a good immune system, then you're probably going to be okay. If you're making bad decisions, then
and it's easy to defeat as well.
Yeah, well, the 80%, over 80% of the population is recovering from this virus, and they're being
good immune system. Good immune system. That's all I'm saying.
And they're being discharged in the hundreds of thousands from hospitals.
Yeah, exactly. Like the official numbers they're reporting, right now in the U.S., we have at most maybe 750,000 active cases. And out of the total number of people who have actually been tested for the coronavirus has almost hit 4 million tests. So only 750,000 out of almost 4 million tests. That's less than 25% of actually testing positive. And then out of those 25%, 80% are recovering, and most of them are recovering on their own. And only like 13,000 people are actually in critical condition, are requiring like respirators and requiring serious medical attention, which would warrant that malaria drug, which injects zinc into the virus cells, that way it can't recreate and reproduce. And then yet given the Z-Pack antibiotic, just access to just basic medical care, and it's being treated. Hell, the flu is much harder to treat and to diagnose than this.
Yeah.
Because if it honestly is this easy to treat and this easy to cure, and these numbers are so low, what really is there to really be afraid of? I'm really failing to see of what the fear is, because like what you were talking about the other night, the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper, he, she, it is everywhere. It's looking at us, and we're looking at it. And if it's just your time to go, it's your time to go. It all comes knocking for us one day. We're not going to live forever, so let's not try to live forever.
Yeah. Well, the Z-Pack is in cases of bacterial pneumonia
Uh-huh.
that occurs. It might not be needed. It's a supplemental backup plan. Now, Jeff Zambellis talks about landowners are created equal. Yeah, the founding fathers were like the crackers that owned plantations. You had rights if you had bucks, basically.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to disagree. It's good. Well, I don't know about Canada, but all I know is people should have a human right to free health care. Fuck the insurance.
Right.
Fuck the insurance companies. I have no love.
Bear arms. Bear arms.
I have no love for insurance companies at all. They're scumbags. Like you were talking about Jeff Bezos before. They suck. 50% sales tax, very high. You know what? The people that are in high young. The people that are in a high income bracket should pay a high tax rate, like Eisenhower made the rich pay in the 1950s. Dwight Eisenhower made 90%
about the industrial complex.
90% tax rate. Let the rich pay. The bunch of crybabies. Screw them.
Eisenhower warned against the military industrial.
But not the middle class. I'm not talking the middle class. You get all the tax. Fucking noise. Somebody's trying to. DNC's doing that to my show. I hear this noise. What I'm trying to say is the middle class is Main Street. It's the backbone of America. They should get all the tax breaks. Not the rich, just the middle class. They should get all the tax breaks.
Yeah, and that point I was getting about as to the biggest reason why we have the mental health issues, besides the dynamics and how things are just so extreme, is alienation. See, we're not inherently good or inherently evil, but we are the product of nature versus nurture. It's really the roll of the dice. But in terms of alienation, we feel as though that we are one way and reality is one way, or it's supposed to be this way. But the reality itself is completely different as compared to what we're supposed to believe, and it's messing with people because, like, people still believe that, they really are working for the betterment of themselves and society, like they rightfully should. But the reality is that's not the case. The reality is you're just working to keep yourself above water if you can. And at the end of the day, you're just working to make the bourgeoisie richer while you are getting poorer. That's what I was getting on alienation. And that's why it's fucking with us so much, because we want to think that the truth is what we're thinking. But the truth is that is not the truth, if that makes any sense. Now, the other point that he was talking about where Canada is socialist. Okay, here's the socialist criteria. Okay, so they have universal health care, an aspect of socialism. Is there still a profit motive in the country? Yes, there still is. So they just got a concession out of capitalism because of the universal healthcare system. High taxes, I mean, taxes really bear no weight whatsoever as to whether they're high, they're low as to whether that really makes capitalism better or worse. I mean, at the end of the day, taxes go for the very government that the bourgeoisie creates. So yes, taxes are just more money going to them. So if profit is going to the rich instead of going to the system to be redistributed, then that's not socialism. That's just capitalism with a few concessions.
Yeah, I agree. Whiskey Scout says, I agree. They blame guns, but they are the quick fix.
Yeah, putting a band-aid on something that requires stitches.
Well, because they're taxing. They're not taxing the people they should be taxing. They're taxing the little guy. Socialism does work in Scandinavia. Don't let any right American
Did
politician.
you just say Scandinavia?
No, Scandinavia. Don't let any right-wing politician in this country convince you otherwise. Everything's working beautifully in Scandinavia.
Wait, so if I can comment about Canada for a second, you know, I'm your buzzed Zoom guy. Even though we're not on Zoom, we're on StreamYard.
Capitalism sucks. I fucking hate this system. Scandinavia's got the best system in the universe.
Canada's got the best system, but then how come? What happened in Nova Scotia? I feel like everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So why did somebody size up his neighbors?
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, this just happened fairly recently, so we'll see what happens. The details are released, but I can tell you right now, it's not because of what typically happens in America for our mass shootings. I can probably guarantee you that. It's probably something else.
Yeah.
Well, what is it, Gary? Although you said...
I don't know. We'll see what happens when the details come out.
All right, listen. The right-wing capitalist Republicans want to turn back the clock to the 19th century where there were no social programs, and if you didn't have money, you died.
Yep.
Flat, plain and simple. Regardless what the right wing flag wavers would tell you. If you didn't have money in the 19th century, you dropped dead. That's how it is.
Yep.
In Colombia, South America. When I was married to my ex-wife, she told me how they have pure capitalism in Colombia. If you
had a wife in Colombia.
Well, if you don't have the money, you drop dead. That's how it is in Latin America.
We're always talking about Asian women, and Asian women can be cool, yeah. But I'm really attracted to Latino women.
You're jumping around, man. You're getting like Joe Biden, brother. You're going from subject. You're doing word salad. You're chopping up the salad. Let's stick to. I'm trying to do a serious, deep show. We could talk about.
No, I know.
We could talk about women on the Red Pill show on Friday.
No, yeah.
Now, capitalism, pure capitalism based on merit means if you can't make it on your own with no helps and you can't pull yourself up by the bootstraps, you fucking perish. That's what it really means. Whiskey Scouts. If you take away the firearms and they can't vent their insanity that way, they will be forced to think of other ways to kill people.
Right. I mean, find the source as to what makes them want to do that. Like, that's what they're not wanting to address is, okay, it's not normal for just people just out of the blue just wanting to pick up a firearm and just go out and shoot people. That's blatantly not normal. Yes, but you have to figure out why it is that people are doing this. Well, a great place to start would be, okay, maybe is there something that's wrong with our society that's causing said problem? And I could tell you yes, because of how extreme our society is and how alienating our society is and how just so physically and psychologically sick it is, just how overall fucked up it is. That would be an excellent first place to start.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Whiskey Scout says someone who a thinker is driven will be like having a 1,000 Unabombers loose on our society. Someone who
is a thinker and is driven will be likely to have 1,000 Unabombers. Yeah, that is very true. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint people like that because they could just happen like that. There could be nothing wrong. Everything could be going great in their life, and then all of a sudden there's just a trigger that causes them to snap, and they just do it. You really can't prevent against that. You just gotta be prepared for when it does happen.
Yeah.
That's what happened in Nevada. In Las Vegas, that guy seemed totally just normal, functional.
Now, why the hell is Prime Minister Trudeau taxing the hell out of middle class people like they do in the United States?
I thought you were pro taxes.
I'm pro taxes for the rich, for the top 2%.
Yeah, us working class people, we do the work. We deserve the breaks and the tax cuts.
Yeah, I didn't. Don't be a spin doctor like a Republican politician. I'm saying I'm not.
Everybody, but yeah.
I'm not anti-taxes. I'm anti-taxes for the little guy. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm dead set against. If that's what they do in Canada, if that's what they really do. Now I hear Trudeau is a hell of a nice guy. I don't know.
Apologize a little bit too.
I don't know what's going on, you know, over there.
He says I'm sorry a little bit too much for things. He says sorry too much. I think
that's like the South Park episode about the oil spill in the Gulf. What was that? British Petroleum. Oh, we're sorry we spilled the oil in the Gulf.
Do it again.
If you are going to have an income tax, 10% across the. Oh, you're talking about a flat tax? No,
yeah, like the flat tax.
No, nothing. You know who wanted a flat tax? Mr. Forbes. Remember that rich guy that had a magazine? Was it Malcolm Forbes, or his last name was Forbes? He was running for president back in the day. He was pushing for a flat tax. No write-offs, no nothing, from the poorest to the richest. That way we all have the same burden. Yeah, but why should everybody have the same burden? Fuck the mega rich. I don't have any compassion for them. If the top 2% pay a high tax rate like during Eisenhower's days, guess what? They're still living high on the hog. I bet that's coming from. I bet that's coming from Mike Hilton's phone.
No,
it's not coming from you. All that snap, crackle, and pop Rice Krispie sound.
No.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
If the top 2% are paying the burden like Eisenhower did, they're still living high on the hog. They're still rich people. So I don't have any empathy for the top 2%. Damien, is it the opposite of America and Canada? The government employees are far more powerful than the businessmen. It is a disgrace, and Canada is truly socialist. Yeah, but what's so bad about the word socialist? It's been
I get it. I get his argument. Okay, so let's pay very close attention to what he's saying here. Okay. In Canada, the government employees are more powerful than the businessmen. Okay, so government employees, i.e., people that work for the government. Now, in a socialist country, not every job means that you work for the government. So that's another logical fallacy of Canada is not a socialist country, and if that's what you're basing it off of, I'm sorry, but that's just blatantly not true. Now, I'm also looking here in the other comments. See, there's a huge redistribution of wealth. I have 2 master's degrees, MBA from Boston University, and a master's of taxation from Bentley University, and I only own a 2014 4-cylinder Chevy Cruze. And then also, it's James, I have no mortgage on my house, and I am poor due to taxation in Canada. And Steve Forbes is the one who wanted the flat tax. Okay, now, taxes are not really a thing of socialism. Now, here's how a real socialist country handles something like that. So under capitalism, you have something that is based on an exchange value, whereas under socialism, it's done on a use value. Now, the more useful something is, the cheaper it is going to be. Now, that's going to be across the board on everything. Now, in terms of redistribution of wealth, um, yeah, there's going to be a redistribution of wealth to a certain point, but how it handles surplus value, i.e., profit, is radically, radically different. Okay, so in a capitalist society, the worker works for X amount of time, and then they have enough to pay or enough to have their livable wage, i.e., earning their daily bread. Now, anything excess over that is what is known as surplus value, i.e., profit. Well, under capitalism, that profit goes to the capitalist class to line their pockets to benefit themselves. Under socialism, the surplus value, i.e., profit, goes to the state. Now, then the state allocates it according to what it needs to be allocated. Like so much would go to healthcare, so much would go to education, so much would go to infrastructure. Then X amount would actually be reinvested back into job creation and also increasing wages. Canada does not really do a lot of all those things last time I checked. So yeah, even though there's a redistribution of wealth and taxes are very high, and there is just one concession of universal health care, based on everything that you just told me and how I just explained it, I'm really failing to see how that's socialism. Sounds more like to me Canada is just very liberal in the way it likes to do things. Has a more like an anything everything goes type mentality, which is why liberalism is very toxic and why a true socialist should hate liberalism and hate liberals with a burning passion and desire. Yeah, I went over all those comments that I was explaining about.
I don't like liberals because I feel like they impose everybody's. They impose their opinion on everybody, and it's just the whole definition of liberal is that you're not to overshadow anybody here, but the whole definition of liberal is to be open to other opinions besides your own.
Well, that and anything and everything goes mentality. See, what makes liberalism so toxic and so dangerous as compared to conservatism, not to defend them, but just for the
This is
purposes
going
of
to
this argument, and my point,
Yeah,
is,
neoliberalism.
well, just liberalism in general,
Yeah.
but a conservative, you know exactly where they're going to be coming from. Even if they're complete scumbags and pieces of shit, they're going to be blatantly sexist, racist, class antagonistic to you right to your face. That is going to be a given.
I deal with a lot of just. I agree with you, Damien. I deal with a lot of rich people who claim they're liberal when really they're just conservative, fascist, warmongering pigs. So they may
Yeah,
say,
exactly.
They may say, for example, oh, I'm all for equal rights, equal protection, but
Yeah,
and if
exactly. Yeah,
Saudi
I get.
Arabia bombed us tomorrow, I would be all for bombing the hell out of Saudi Arabia, even if there was
Yeah,
evidence
fuck yeah.
Saudi Arabia, if it was terrorists who did it, and if it wasn't Saudi Arabia who did it, just a terrorist planted it that way. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
They would still have that same fucking opinion because they're so fucking narrow-minded.
Yeah, exactly. But getting to the point I was getting at, so conservative, even if you don't like them, which I don't, at least you're going to know where they're coming from. A liberal, you have no idea where they're going to be coming from. Because, like I said, the whole basis of liberalism is anything and everything goes. So, yes, they might speak of democracy for the proletariat, but at the end of the day, you can't trust them because, yeah, they might say that to your face, but I guarantee you behind closed doors, they'll speak for the exact same democracy for the proletariat that they would advocate for the bourgeoisie. So yes, they might shake your hand and smile to your face behind the closed doors. The Julius Caesar knives go into the backs of the very people they claim to represent. So to quote Vladimir Lenin, it's typical for a liberal to speak of democracy, but the question you have to ask is democracy for what class?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how, Gary, I have to agree with you on this because even though I feel everything in terms of COVID, I feel it, but I'm worried that we're going to become an overly, James, you may feel this, we may become an overly sterilized society and we never have any exposure to germs. If you're in camp, there are plenty of situations in camp where your life matters more. And they may not say it, but climbing rocks, for example, climbing fucking rocks, your life matters more than what you touched. So
Mm-hmm.
I worry about, contact with any dirt. I have to be worried about my life. So I don't appreciate people telling me that you'll never be able to touch another surface again. It's just I'm worried that we're becoming overly fucking sterile.
Uh,
Doing that daily.
once this backs off, once this whole entire stuff backs off, things will go back to normal to a point. Now, actually, by being the way that they're doing here, which is actually done phenomenally well, just by making sure that people are washing their hands and that they're sanitizing them and that people are being hygienic, like brushing their teeth, making sure they shower every day, wearing clean clothes, things like that. We have done more to actually prevent any kind of sickness here in our area. Because, like, anytime you go to one of the stores around here, they are constantly spraying down the sidewalks, the doors, the windows, the carts, anything you think of, they're spraying it down. In fact, the other day, when they were spraying it down. I got some of that stuff on mine, just like a few little droplets. God bless, that shit burned. And I can tell you, if there's anything in that mixture that doesn't kill germs, I would be surprised because just that little burn on my skin, if there's any germs or anything, it's going to die. But the main point I was getting at is there is a healthy way you can expose yourself to germs, like washing your hands and sanitizing your hands doesn't get rid of the germs necessarily per se. It kills the germs mostly. So by ingesting the dead germs, kind of almost like self-vaccinating, that's a healthy exposure to germs. That way, your body recognizes it as a foreign invader. It's dead. Your immune system will then recognize it. So that way, if a live version of said germ would get in, it has the means to fight it.
Yourself to germs naturally create antibodies. So if you're more exposed, you will get more antibodies. You will be able to handle things better.
Well, when you work with food service,
Like I do.
like I did when I learned how to fillet fish and what Damien is doing. When you work with food service, you learn about things like cross contamination. You learn a lot about hygiene and sterilizing things more than any other field of endeavor next to medical, next to a hospital.
Oh yeah. Now what he's referring to as cross contamination is you have to be very careful on surfaces. Like if raw meat were to touch a particular surface, you can't just put a raw vegetable or raw fruit on that without properly cleaning it first.
Well, especially chicken, because chicken can have salmonella or raw poultry. If you're cutting raw poultry on a cutting board, you never cut pork or beef or salad or fruit or tomato. You keep them completely separate, these cutting boards. Cross contamination, it means exactly the way it sounds.
Yeah, and I've had food poisoning multiple times. And I promise you, I'm very careful and very particular about how I prepare food. And if I'm making your food, there is no way in hell you are going to get food poisoning because the way I wash my hands, I cake my hands in soap. And then I cake the underside of my nails in soap. And I basically have almost scalding hot water that I wash them under. And I sanitize. And if there's meat being
Good.
cooked, it's over here. If there's veggies being cooked, they're over here.
And what about that high pressure gun that they use when you close your department?
We don't have that, but here lately in the deli, we've been very particular about how we're cleaning it.
Yeah, we don't
Um,
do that over at my grocery store either. We don't have a high pressure gun.
well, they have like this thing that's almost like a pressure washer, and it's got a tank that has that cleaning stuff, but it requires no water. All they have to do is just spray it over like a cart or a window or a door or a surface, and it will kill anything. Like I said, I got just a little bit on my skin. I had no cuts, no wounds. It just touched my skin, and it fucking burned.
What I hear is that viri don't really even do that well in water. So what? I have a question. Why can't you, if if you have soap contact your skin and it
Hmm.
eliminates the virus by simply soap touching the skin, and you guys might laugh at me about this idea, but if soap can kill the virus from the skin contact alone, why can't you shoot up a patient full of soap? Why can't you do that?
I get where you're coming
Okay.
from, but let's just pump
I
the
don't
brakes and
understand.
let's analyze that for a moment.
Why can't you
Now,
shoot up a patient full of soap? Well, just somebody said it doesn't work that way, but
Why
somebody
don't
said
you why don't you call Dr. Fauci and give him that recommendation? Listen, listen. Um, are you serious, by the way?
I'm serious. Why can't you?
well, okay, yeah, I get where you're coming from, but let's pump the brakes and let's just stop and let's take a moment to listen to what we just said and let's think about it. Okay, it's not safe to ingest soap normal. Okay,
Yeah,
you have to use water to break it down to wash your hands.
yeah,
It's safe for skin contact. Now, once you wash your hands and the soap is off, yeah, there might be some residual soap, but at this point, it's safe. So if you do taste a little bit of it, it's not really going to hurt you. But just to like pop a top of soap and just guzzle it, no. I mean,
Listen,
it even says on the bottle you're not supposed to ingest soap.
when I was a kid and we cursed
yeah.
at the teacher, they put a big bar of soap in our mouth,
Yep.
and they had special spanking paddles made out of wood with holes in it and a leather strap. But they put a bar of soap in our mouth, and it happened to me, and it did not taste pleasant at all. And you know what? Consumer Reports recommends gargling with hydrogen peroxide because it kills everything in the trachea
Mm,
before it gets into your lungs.
mm.
But guess what? You don't swallow it. You spit it out into the sink. You
Hmm.
gargle with it.
That sounds like some quack doctor stuff. That sounds like
No,
some.
it's not quack. No, and you rinse your mouth and you leave the peroxide on your in your throat, but you don't swallow the damn peroxide.
Yeah, you don't swallow it. It's like with mouthwash. You don't swallow mouthwash.
No, unless you're an alcoholic desperate for a buzz or something. No,
Well, it's dangerous to do that, by the way, because it's two different alcohols. See, the alcohol that's in mouthwash is not ethyl alcohol, which is a byproduct of either brewing, fermentation, or distilling, like with beer, wine, and liquor. That's ethyl alcohol. That's safe to consume in X amount of ingestion. Now, they have different effects on different people. Now, in moderation, alcoholic beverages are not bad, but done in moderation. Now, isopropyl alcohol, which is what is in rubbing alcohol and mouthwash, is not safe to ingest because it's a completely different type of molecular alcohol and it has way more adverse health effects and side effects due to ingestion as
Yeah,
compared to
but
ethyl alcohol.
no, I'm talking about mouth. I'm talking about if you do, if you do kind of like with heroin, you shoot it that way.
Still, no, you would not want to do that. That's not safe.
Yeah, you're talking about a surface disinfectant as opposed to internal consumption of something. It's totally
Well, about the internal consumption of it, I don't know why. Yeah, it seems
it's
funny.
totally two different things. You don't want to swallow soap or isopropyl alcohol or hydrogen peroxide or anything like that.
No.
I don't recommend swallowing anything that's not meant to be consumed. So don't do it.
So you're supposed to have it on your person for a while, but then you're supposed to just get rid of it.
No, 20 seconds. You soap up your hands. They say that it's the best hand sanitizer, old-fashioned bar soap. You soap up your hands. You're in between your fingers, the back of your hands. Then you rinse it off, and that's it. It's not an internal treatment for coronavirus.
Yeah.
Be like, I wish that this
I
was
don't know. I don't understand why Dr. Fauci is stalling about all these things that have been proven in other countries. Something fishy's going on, man. Something definitely fishy's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And we will gather more information as the week go by. And it's been a
why is Trump being all Alan Crumwitty? Why is he saying why is Trump being all Alan Crumwitty from the movie Contagion? Saying Forsythia will save you. He's saying he's touting this very anti-heart drug that will save you from all this.
Well, look, this is what happened. The doctors that gathered the information about the malaria drug being used with over 200 milligrams of zinc with a backup of Z-Pak antibiotic just in case. These doctors gathered this information from South Korea, France, and Brazil, and throughout the world. So Fox News, Sean Hannity gave this doctor a call and interviewed him. And then Mike Pence caught wind of it, and he wanted to learn all about it. And then Mike Pence told Donald Trump, and they showed a very strong interest in it. And then Dr. Fauci says, hasn't been tested. It's not for everybody. The FDA didn't give the okay yet. Well, it was invented in 1945.
Not you.
Yeah.
I'm in a grocery store, so I will look for this thing every which way, but not if it means that you get rid of the.
Not in a grocery store. Don't look for the malaria drug in a grocery store. Are you okay?
Yeah, it's by prescription only.
By prescription?
I think the alcohol might have kicked in just a little too much. That smile says it all.
I think the fat cats are trying to develop a vaccine, whether Bill Gates is behind it or not, or George Soros, that there's something fishy going on with Dr. Fauci. I don't trust short people, especially short Italians.
Yeah.
They're like short Jews. They try to fuck you over.
Well, I do trust Joe Pesci. He's the only short Italian I like.
Yeah, when he was my cousin Vinny, he was a damn good lawyer.
Yeah, he was. My last point is, I guess we can call tonight, is what I would have done to handle this situation a lot better is I would have been like, okay, I would have gotten doctors who are not part of Big Pharma, who have no vested interest in making profit off of this, but actually helping people for what really needs to happen. And I would say, look, there's this virus. What can we do to treat it? So that way, we're not doing these mass quarantines. We're not doing this mass lockdown, knowing that really, it's not going to help people's psychological health no matter how we try to spin this. So what can we do? And if they brought up the malaria drug along with the Z-Pack with some zinc, that this is what's really helping severe cases, I'd be like, by God, let's jump all over and let's get this shit done before it gets worse than what it already is. That's what I would do.
Yeah, just think of the coronavirus like a California navel orange, and the malaria drug is like a hypodermic needle that just goes inside and injects the zinc, and that's pretty much how it works. And Fauci is dummying up, like Archie Bunk used to say. He's keeping quiet. He's evading it.
I can't believe he's doing that, though. The other week when he said, Trump said one thing, and then Fauci, he couldn't challenge him on it. Even though all the governors, even Republican governors, be challenging Trump on this whole thing. And Fauci, because he's part of the cabinet now, he has to agree with everything Trump says. And if you look at Trump in one of the earliest briefings, is that he challenged who's a woman who's doing the briefings when it comes to the healthcare. Her name.
The older woman with the peroxide blonde hair.
Yeah.
And I don't know her name. They all look alike to me. But
her.
you know what happens with the drug? The first thing that happened was
this happened during the AIDS epidemic too.
It was only given to the most severe patients, and the most severe patients on respirators became asymptomatic within hours.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the longer Andrew Cuomo will say, the longer you're on a respirator, the less of a chance that you actually have.
Oh, really? Then how come the most severe cases were asymptomatic in a few hours or several hours?
I don't know. I don't know if that's asymptomatic or if that's a placebo. As far as I'm concerned, there's a whole thing of placebo that you're feeling kind of an effect of, everything.
Placebo when you're on a respirator?
I don't know about that.
I don't know about placebo. All I know is they tested them, and these people recovered and became and tested negative.
But it's just why Dr. Birx, Jefferson Bell.
Dr. Birx is what? Is the woman with the dyed blonde hair?
Yeah, but why are we putting people on ventilators? If you're on a ventilator, you're hunched over like this, and you're not actually supposed to be that way. You're supposed to be as upright. You're supposed to be as upright and chin up as much as possible. I don't.
It's very funny, Jeff.
Hunched over like this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, older women that wear gigantic fancy scarves are trying to hide the wrinkles on their neck. It's very astute of you.
Yeah.
You're a sharp cookie.
Agreed.
But I watched the videos, and these people were off the ventilators in a short amount of time.
How? Who? If you go.
How? Who? The people that were in the hospital, the worst cases.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing, from what people say, is that when you're on the ventilator, I'm not trying to argue with you, but
not arguing either. I hear a lot of things on Facebook and social media.
You're already on a death sentence when you're on the ventilator because you're hunched over like this. You're not up. Most people will actually tell you rightly that you're supposed to be like this. You're not supposed to be all hunched over and on your back like this. Like what the hell is that? Why did the ventilators do that?
Well, they don't want to waste the treatment on healthy people that were going to recover anyway. They wanted, in order to test the treatment,
people die.
Well, in order to test the treatment, they wanted to test it on the worst cases. So this is where they got the best results. they got the best results on the worst cases. So, that's that. I mean, there's plenty of videos explaining the detail by reputable doctors that are using it.
I don't understand why you have to be hunched over like this. If you're
I don't
hunched,
understand about hunch. All I know is that
or if you're lying down, you're vulnerable. If you're sitting up straight, you're not as vulnerable. People will tell you, keep your head. When I got punched in the fucking eye 1 week, people just kept saying, keep your head up straight like this, and I couldn't understand it. But that's just.
I think I lost you, Chief. I think the last time I understood what you were. I mean, the beer reviews were pretty good, but when you have somebody who has an underlying pre-existing condition and who is doing pretty badly, it only makes sense to give the treatment to the worst patients. And that's what these doctors did.
Well, with the malaria drug.
Well, I can't pronounce the name, but the drug for malaria and for lupus, it's given to lupus patients also. In combination with over 200 milligrams of zinc, like 250 milligrams of zinc.
Yeah, but that's what Trump said. You're not seriously believing what Trump said.
No, this information is not coming out of Trump's imagination. This is actually in practice by reputable doctors treating corona patients in other countries. And it happens to be working in the US. It's being stifled. That's all.
Why I'm being very skeptical about that is in the movie Contagion, Jude Law, who's a very good actor. Damien Phil, you probably agree, Jude Law.
Yeah, he also did Vasily Zaitsev in Enemy at the Gates, an excellent sniping movie, to be honest.
Dude, that guy's amazing.
Right. But it's not for everybody. If somebody has an illness,
about the drug.
If somebody has an illness where the drug won't be compatible with them, it depends on the case. It depends on the case, and the statistics show that it works like miracle with the severe cases. It has a miraculous effect. So that's it. And this is not coming out of Trump's imagination. This is coming from reputable doctors. But Fauci is being suspicious. He is.
Talk about reopening the government, and Trump is talking
bad idea. Not too early yet. But anyway, that's only me.
What do you guys think that the government is going to reopen?
No, the government can be open. The government has to sort of. The government could be open.
Keep the economy shut down forever.
Well, no, it's not gonna. It can't be forever.
That's what somebody said, though. You can't keep the economy shut down forever.
The line has got to flatten eventually.
Because we saw that in California today. We hit our apex in California today.
Well, these are the people. Older patients are allowed to die, save insurance claim, but because politicians are paid off.
Yeah.
That really fucking pisses me off. I give elderly people a lot of shit, but it just for a change, though, it really pisses me the fuck off that we are just letting older people die. They're full of war stories, and crappy, but they're full of war stories,
War
Yeah.
stories, they're human beings.
More wisdom
I don't care how many stories they have.
and
They're human
reverence than anybody. It fucking pisses me off that we're letting old people die. What is
Yeah.
These are people's uncles and grandfathers and great grandfathers. These are people, But Jeff is right. People, politicians, if they're corrupt, they're paid off, and this is why the system is shot. This is why the system is shot.
Why do old people want to let? Why do young people want to let old people die? I know I get Gary. I get plenty annoyed by old people all the time. I feel like y'all too naive. I feel like
I was talking
to
two Indian friends, and they said that India is actually doing quite well during the pandemic.
Yeah.
They're not stupid. They're very educated people, and they're really enforcing the rules. So I hear they're doing quite well.
All right. Well, they're doing pretty well, but I honestly think that if across the board we do a slow incremental reopening just to see what happens when we do it in increments like they're doing here in East Tennessee, because like the first thing they're going to do is they say they're going to relax social distancing to where now instead of 6 feet it's 3 feet, and they're going to allow non-essential business to reopen, parks to reopen, and people going back to work, but only in like X amount of capacity for this week and then X amount for the next week. Do it in increments across the board. That actually doesn't sound like a bad idea to see how far can we go before we kind of just go, okay, maybe we should either step back or just kind of keep things like this for a point just to kind of, get things back to normal, because being locked down and having these quarantines and not having so many people working and all this, it's really not helping people's psychological health. So slowly reopening across the whole U.S. doesn't sound like a bad idea. Now, can it be done on a state-to-state basis? Yes, absolutely.
I think it should be state to state. I think it should be depending on the density of the population of the state. Like, in other words, if you take Utah, North South Dakota, Montana, if you take
it ain't dealing with shit. It's such a small state. It ain't even dealing with fucking shit. Right?
Well, I mean, Tennessee we're not a big state. Yeah, Tennessee's not a big state, but we're not a large state. Like, in this part of Tennessee, yeah, it may not be densely packed, but we do have a fair amount of people in a pretty good amount of areas. So we'd be an excellent representation of not necessarily a small scale, but more of like a medium scale. So actually, we could be a great basis for the rest of the country, since, like I said, this would be more of a moderate to medium scale, so we can get an accurate basis to, okay, if it works on a medium basis, then surely this should work on a small basis, but then you also work on a large scale basis with some adjustments made depending upon the situation. But honestly, if they were to do slow incremental reopening, I don't think really it's going to get any worse. Honestly, at this point, if we figured out what causes it to be spread, be treated, and be cured, and it's this easy to do, then by all means go for it. At this point, I don't think it's going to get any worse.
Hey, Gary.
I mean, there's a lot of states that are not densely populated that this might work. This, reopening non-essential businesses might actually work. It depends on the state. Now, there's some states have a low population compared to the wilderness, like let's say Wyoming. What do you got in Wyoming? Cody, Wyoming.
Yeah, why does Wyoming get as many representatives as, say, California? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a different topic. But we're talking about non-essential businesses reopening in states that are not densely populated, that have lots of wilderness. Start off with those states,
and then laxing the social distancing, because like like I said, they're going to enforce it to a point. I mean, hell, it's not even really been all that enforced here anyway. But they're going to relax it from 6 feet to 3 feet, and then non-essential businesses and parks and all that, they're going to slowly increase how many people can be gathered. Because like right now, you can't have any more than 10 in a gathering. So what they're going to do is they're going to slowly do it from like 15 to 20 to 30, all the way back up to where it's back
Yeah,
where
but
it needs to be.
somebody told me that that bars where I'm at, they're not going to open until July. And before we even had all this, you go to a
They
bar.
say that. They say that now, but once they see that people like us in Tennessee are doing phasing reopening and that things are going smoothly, other states are going to follow.
Even before that, though, in February, in
Now,
February,
you know why, Jeff Zambello? Because Indians do what they're told. Americans are arrogant and stubborn. They don't listen. That's
right,
why.
but James,
In answer to Jeff Zambello's questions, China, Singapore, South Korea, India, they do what they're fucking told.
but
You know what I'm saying? Americans are pricks. They don't like to listen.
James, what I'll say though is that even before all this, bars had to do the capacity.
You better crank up your microphone volume.
I want to say, based off what Damien talked about for a second, is that even before all this, bars had a capacity, and you had to wait for a little bit before other people left. And you just had to stand in line for a while. It's just we have to get back to that. We have to be able to open a bar, but still have a capacity.
All right, how's this sound? Let's say you have a Let's say you have a restaurant. Let's say it's a family-owned restaurant
Can't keep the shutdown forever, man.
Well, let's say it's a family-owned restaurant in Tennessee. Let's say it's been around for 75 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Have people sit at every other table so they're fucking 6 feet apart.
Well, that's actually one of the ideas they're proposing is to restore capacity up to X amount of people after X amount of time. While they're doing the phasing is apparently here in Tennessee they say we peaked and that now we're on the downslope. And also another reason why I say this is a great idea of doing it in increments. This is also a great way to show that this virus is not what they say it is, and that we're going to do this in increments to see, just how infectious and how deadly this virus really is. That way, if they do it in increments, they can either halt or scale back, which I think is a great idea. And in fact, City of Kingsport is thinking about doing that, but right now, we really can't do anything because our governor, Bill Lee, issued that stay-at-home order until May 1st, but then it was an executive order. It wasn't done by legislature, so really it couldn't be enforced, and no one was really under any obligation to abide by it anyway. But he's also landed himself in some pretty hot water. But May 1st, barring anything unforeseen, we're starting the reopening here in Tennessee. Slowly but surely, we're going to do it. And if Bill Lee tries to interfere, knowing now that we peaked and the cases are going down, we're on the downslope, I can tell you right now, it's not going to end well because of what just happened here with him recently. Not only with him spying on Tennesseans, doing everything by executive order, and then a federal judge actually blocked one of his actions here recently. Hang on, I'm just about done. But a federal judge blocked one of his actions. See, he tried to ban abortion clinics during this epidemic, claiming that they were not considered deemed essential services. Well, a federal judge struck that down and said, nope, it's an essential service because women do need the right to have access to an abortion clinic should that circumstance arise, and that got shut down, and that pissed Bill Lee off tremendously, and Tennesseans are not very happy with him, so he better be walking on eggshells and be very careful with what he does next and how he speaks to us.
Let me ask you a question. Nashville and Memphis, Tennessee, is the curve flattening, or are a lot of people being discharged?
Well, apparently across the whole state of Tennessee, we have just a little bit over 7,000 cases. primarily Nashville being the hot spot, which I find very odd. Memphis seems to be doing pretty good. They're having low amounts of cases, but I know that the stay-at-home order is for the whole state of Tennessee. It's set to expire May 1st, but here in Eastern Tennessee, that's what we decided to do now. What Nashville and Memphis do, I don't know. I usually don't follow with what's going on out there, but we'll see.
There's a high black population probably in Memphis, and Corona tends to hit people of color before it hits.
Right, and in Nashville, people have actually begun to protest in Nashville at the stay-at-home order because apparently the stay-at-home order is being more strictly enforced in Nashville, and people are not happy.
Why is everybody so obsessed with this libertarianism, freedom?
Wait,
It's not that bad to be home. I mean, why is everybody waving the fucking flag? Why are they so?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Is we've been completely disproportionate knee jerk to all this. That really, as bad as what they claim it is. Now I can understand if if it was reversed, like there were way more cases, people were in hospitals a lot longer than what they're being in. That really every case was either moderate to severe or it was really fatal to where people were really dropping dead like flies left and right. Then maybe I would be like, okay, maybe we should have a quarantine and maybe we should have a lockdown. But if these numbers they're reporting are true, which they're going to be distorted, but based on their own numbers they're reporting, if so few people are getting it, there's an 80% recovery, and yet it's so easily treated and so easily defeated, that really doesn't warrant this behavior. Like, this is just going way too far. That's why I said this is disproportionate reaction and knee-jerk reaction, because we don't even react this way to things that are much worse than the coronavirus, like the flu. We don't react this way whenever the fucking flu breaks out. Well, and that is far worse than this virus.
They say the mortality rate with corona is much higher than influenza.
That's what they say, but I gave you the numbers, and that shows you that is clearly not true.
Now, getting back to what Jeff keeps on saying about India, I don't know. Asia in general has been very successful with this pandemic. Americans don't fucking listen. It's American exceptionalism. Americans think they know it all. They're the best. They don't know shit. They're stubborn. They're arrogant, just like Europeans. They do what they want. The Asians march in lockstep. They do what they're told. That's why they're doing so well. That's the reason why they're doing so damn well.
But yeah, I'm not convinced at this point, really, that this was warranted or justified. I'm sorry, but it's not. The numbers speak for themselves.
If I could say for a second, though, about what Jeff said about nutrition, it's just, you could be all about places that are a little bit lower when it comes to nutrition, but if you go, say, Trader Joe's, just their selection is fantastic. They have immense nutritional value. You can experience other cultures, and if you're looking for even some spice, they will kick your ass on the spice level, as opposed to lower quality stores may not kick your ass so much on the spice level even. So, I went to Trader Joe's. I bought a habanero sauce, and for the first time, a habanero sauce kicked my ass. So, your nutrition very much depends on it.
Listen,
your nutrition very much
nutrition in most Indians are Hindus. Hindus are vegans. Hindus eat a very high fiber, high nutrition, plant-based diet. It's not the vitamins and the nutrition. It's the fact that this freaking virus, this respiratory virus, is so contagious and it spreads so fast. It helps to have a strong immune system. Don't get me wrong. Don't forget, Indians are old school people. They get breastfed. When you get breastfed, you get colostrum. as a baby for the first week. When you get colostrum, your immune system is developed in 1 week for the rest of your life. Now, what Jeff is saying, why the high death rates in the U.S.? Well, either the American media is fucking lying to us, and they're only telling us about the worst cases.
Peanuts.
The worst cases, people with pre-existing illnesses, the elderly, so on and so forth. And they're not telling us, like my sister shows me, the statistics right from the hospital, how many tens of thousands. Every hospital is discharging hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah, I would err more on the side of that they're not being honest, that from the get-go they've been so dishonest and deceptive about this whole entire thing.
The numbers have not been honest. There have been massive amounts of people testing negative and being discharged from hospitals. And
what about people who test negative but then who test positive again?
And people staying under quarantine at home and testing negative at home, and the news media just tells you about who drops dead, how many, and the fear mongering from the media, the lying from the media. This is your America. They're full. They're lying son of a bitches. We talked about Bernie Sanders. Now we're talking about Corona. They're all liars. They want to control we the people.
Yeah, that's why I said completely disproportionate reaction. If it's honestly this few in numbers and it's this easy to treat, I'm just really, in all honesty, failing to see how a lockdown or a quarantine is really warranted or justified. Like I said, if there was a higher death rate and there were way many more cases, I would say maybe. But if less than 25% of cases are testing positive, and out of the less than 25%, there's an 80% recovery rate, yeah, the flu is not like that. In fact,
nowhere close. Yeah, no way. You would say.
Yeah, so I'm just like, yeah, this was definitely disproportionate, total knee-jerk reaction.
Okay, you're absolutely right. Now, Michael Hilton, were you about to crack open the beer, or it just looked like that?
It just looked like that.
Okay, don't worry about it. Well, let's bang up the show. What do you got there?
Joe's.
Oh, fish nuggets.
Oh, that's what I use. I buy that. I Trader Joe's fish nugget. It's a Alaskan cod.
Oh,
yeah, well, whenever you log off, James, I got a surprise to show the both of you. I've already shown James, but I want to show you too, Mike. But don't tell her what it is, James.
Okay, we want to see this up front and live.
Oh, you want to see it up front and live?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so I decided to go with a new look.
The new
and improved Damian the Wolf Owens. So you've never seen me without a hat before, have you, Mike?
No, and I tried to shave earlier today, but it looked like shit. I undershaved.
What? You sound like Joe Biden over there. You're going.
I undershaved.
All right. Well, I shaved my face. I shaved it last night, but I'm probably going to shave it either in the morning or tomorrow. And I decided to completely shave my head. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
The first time anyone has seen Damian the Wolf Owens without a hat on live stream. Are you ready? Boom!
Wow! Look at that! Look at that! You got a perfect head for that. And go easy on the goatee, because then you won't be a wolf anymore.
Yep.
There you go.
I'm sorry, what was that, Mike?
Decided to do that.
Huh?
No, he always wanted to do that. He always discussed doing that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what made you decide to go ahead with it?
Well, I mean, my hair is thinning here on top, and I'm trying to figure out why it is. So I took James's advice and decided to just shave it all off so that way it can grow back in thicker. So what I'm going to do is whenever I do my follow up with my primary care physician, whenever that's going to be, probably here within the next month or so, he's going to do a follow up on my emergency surgery I had to have on my toe, removing that infected, impacted toenail. I'm going to have him do some labs to see if maybe it's something nutrition wise or if there's something else as to why my hair is thinning here on top and going bald. And if it's something that can be easily reversed or treatable, then I'm going to go for it. But for right now, I'm going to keep it shaved so that way, if maybe, because I have also really bad acne, so I have very oily skin. So I can feel it just by rubbing my head. It's very oily. I get it from my dad. That's why I get really bad acne.
That's the
If
reason.
possibly I have some clogged hair follicles, and by keeping it shaved and just washing it, if that helps unclog the follicles and it grows back naturally. So
That's the reason. That's the reason. You got to use a dandruff shampoo or Australian tea tree oil shampoo. You have
yeah, but
follicles.
James, how do you know all this nutritional information?
No. The reason why the hairs are not coming out is the follicles are clogged. He's absolutely right on the money. But the shaved head makes his eyes show out more, and also he has a good shaped head. It's round. It's not. It doesn't come to a point. It's very round. And
yeah,
as far as your face goes, just go against the grain. Go up.
yeah.
I hear you. Should I shave my head? Should I shave my head?
No,
No.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. You will have a head like a pencil eraser.
What James?
No, I'm serious. Your skull is not meant for a baldy. Mine is not meant for a baldy.
How can you tell? How can you tell?
I could tell. I could tell by the shape of the skull. Will there be a Trump Biden series?
It
It'll be a comedy,
Biden
Jeff. It'll be a comedy.
2020.
Series of debates in 2020, or will the media use the coronavirus to stave off the debates to protect Sleepy Joe Biden? No, Sleepy Joe Biden will maintain proper distance from everyone.
You would think. You would think.
I'm not afraid for Sleepy Joe to get sick. I'm afraid that Sleepy Joe is gonna have a meltdown when Donald Trump starts calling him names, and he's gonna start going. Let's do some push-ups, you fat orange. Yeah, he's gonna have a meltdown. But getting back to Damien, I think that was the smartest move he made. And I think oiliness is the reason why the follicles are clogged.
Biden's going to lose.
Well, it's not oil like olive oil. It's called sebaceous glands produce sebum, which is what keeps our skin and our hair soft.
All right.
I mean, I have very soft hair. It's just thick, but it could be something nutritional. I mean, it could be something else, or it could be another thing that is very common for male hair thinning and male baldness is a hormone called a DHT, and it is very common in males, but it's a dominant gene. So if you see someone balding or someone bald, it's actually a dominant. Having a thick, full head of hair is actually a recessive gene. But the hormone DHT, what happens is it causes the hair follicles to shrink and causes the hair loss that way. Now, they do have medication that can reverse that or slow it down depending upon how far along you are. They grade baldness according to, how thin it is or how thick it is in certain areas where there's balding at, whether it's on the crown or it's on the top of the skull, what have you, and then they prescribe the adequate treatment there. So I'm just going to get the lab work done, see what they're showing, and then see if I could probably get a hair analysis done to see, if that could also be playing a role into it.
Yeah, you see, a lot of people, they shave downward with the grain. If you wanna thicken up your whiskers, you gotta go up against the
That's
grain.
how I shave anyway. Now you're probably also going to find this weird, but I don't shave with shaving cream.
What do you use, like air conditioner or something?
No, here's what I do. I didn't use any shaving cream when I shaved my head because what my wife did, she got it really, really low, like almost like it was buzz cut, and then I got my scalp really hot, and I got the razor really hot, and I just shaved it off. So anytime I shave, what I do is I put hot water on my face, get the skin nice and soft and hot. Then I run the razor under really hot water, get the razor nice and hot. So when I start shaving, it just glides right over, and I get a nice close shave.
Well,
It doesn't hurt.
if you're in a shower, you could technically use soap to shave with. I mean, if you have like a mirror, like they sell these shower mirrors
Mm-hmm.
with suction cups on the back that you can stick to the tiles, and you could actually do it all in the shower if you want.
I usually don't. I've just gotten so used to shaving without shaving cream. I mean, I've been doing it for years now. And like I said, as long as you get your face nice and hot and the razor's nice and hot, you get a nice close shave, it glides right over top, and it does not hurt.
Yeah.
No nicks or nothing. Yeah, there's no nicks, no snags, no nothing.
Oh, you mean based on temperature, on heat?
Yep.
You don't need the shaving cream.
Yeah, some people have told me. Well, I got the mirror in the shower, and the soap is more slippery than the shaving cream if you have a lot of hot water steaming up everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, like the dollar store, usually the shaving creams for women have a lot more moisturizers in them than the ones for men. I do notice that. I do notice that. What are you making? A fish sandwich?
I'm making fish tacos.
Oh, fish taco. Oh.
Yeah. Wow, we've been going at this for almost a little over 3.25 hours. Wow.
Fish taco is very good. It was invented when Japanese commercial fishermen used to stop in Mexico, and they taught them how to do tempura. Oh, what do you got? Hot sauce?
Trader Joe's habanero hot sauce.
Oh wow, look at that.
Oh man, it is hot. What's that you said about tempura? Just if you look at Trader Joe's habanero hot sauce, it's building. It's building. 250,000 Scoville, man. It's there. I don't know about you, but it just is there.
Something with habaneros is nothing. Because hell, the other night I tried Buffalo Wild Wings' hottest sauce, the blazing with ghost pepper extract. Holy fucking shit! Now that was hot.
I remember that when Kramer decided to wash all his produce in the shower to save time. Yeah, ghost pepper is pretty hot. Carolina Reaper.
Carolina Reaper is fucking hot.
Then there's something called the scorpion chili from Trinidad.
What's the scorpion thing? What's everybody getting into the scorpion about? I thought the highest to go scorpion, Carolina, not scorpion, that'd be ridiculous. Carolina Reaper.
No, it goes like this. It goes from habanero, it goes to the ghost chili.
Of this heat.
And then after the ghost chili, which is from North Eastern India. It goes to the scorpion chili of Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago, yeah.
We're talking about Scoville units.
Scoville heat.
It goes to so far Carolina Reaper's the king.
Yeah, true.
Now, do you want to just taste? Do you just want heat, or do you want to taste your food?
I want the heat. I want the heat. Give me the fucking heat.
Well, I mean, the blazing hot sauce that I tried at Buffalo Wild Wings, because we got it delivered the other night. My wife was like, "Try their hottest hot sauce." I know you love spicy stuff, so I was like, "Okay, I'll try it." And it's made with ghost pepper extract, and holy shit, I decided to dip like a whole wing in it just to show, yeah, I'm a macho man. Yeah, after like 15 seconds after that, I wasn't a macho man anymore.
Those Scoville units will demacho any macho man.
Well, it tasted really good. It tasted like very potent, but it was like really sweet and very vinegary. It tasted really good, but after like 15 seconds, felt like needles were just piercing my tongue and then the rest of my mouth, and it's like someone just took a grill lighter and just stuck it in my mouth and turned the flame all the way up. I was like, oh, holy shit. My nose started running. My face broke out sweating. My face was red. I immediately went and was like, I need milk. I need milk now.
From habanero? That was some habanero?
No, that was with a ghost pepper extract. See, the peppers themselves are not that hot, but when you start putting in extract and concentrating it to where that Scoville heat unit is more concentrated, oh yeah, it becomes a lot hotter.
Now, I'm not sure where women shave their pubic hairs. I really don't know because I never asked them. Because I don't want them to like call me a pervert or look at me weird. I honestly don't know where they shave their pubes.
I mean, not to sound like a pervert, I mean, considering I'm married and I've been around a lot of women in my life, most of them do.
In a shower.
Yeah, most of them do.
Now, you know what's funny? If a guy shaved his pubes, then women would say that's gay.
Well, now apparently that's the new norm. They love some women just love it when a man shaves their pubes. And here's what they say: they say it makes the penis look bigger. But I'm just like, are you shitting me?
Well, they call it manscaping, and yeah, I've heard that it makes because the bush is not there anymore, therefore the schlong looks bigger.
Oh no, yeah, I won't lie, I'm manscaped, but I won't do it to an excessive degree. I'll do it so that it looks okay, but I won't do it so that it looks like I'm literally trying to be tawdry about my appearance.
Do you have photos on your smartphone when you go to the pub? When you go to the sports bar? I mean, do you show the ladies your manscape?
I have, but in the comfort of home, I have not done that in public because I think that, especially in this Me Too era, that we all have. Holy fuck! That shit is hot.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
This now, when an offense become a crime. This when did an offense become a crime? And John Stuart Mill said. John Stuart Mill. He said, an offense is not a fucking crime.
Well, we shouldn't have to walk on eggshells in life. Now, Jeff wants to know if it's twice as hot coming out of your rectum the next morning.
On some things, yeah, you better believe it. Like when I did the nuclear fire noodles, I had PTSD and flashbacks just thinking about it.
Wait, Gary, you did the nuclear. How do you find those? What store do you go to?
I found mine at the local Asian market we have here in Kingsport. They sold the regular fire noodles and the nuclear fire noodles from Samyang, South Korea. They sold them in the 5-packs for like $5.99, but you can order them off of Amazon.
Man, it's just I had Guys, I went to Chinatown one time, and I had these noodles, and I thought they were just regular. I don't know. I'm being ignorant or something.
Well,
I
let
thought
me
noodles
ask you a question.
very fucking spicy.
Is there an Asian food section in Amazon?
Yeah, there is. You can just type in whatever it is you're looking for, and Amazon probably sells it. But if you're looking for these noodles in particular to try for yourself, you just type in Samyang, which would be Samyng, and then you type in hot chicken flavor, and then it will bring up the regular fire noodles, which are in a black pack, and then you got the double spicy, which is in a black and red pack. So I'll tell you right now, the regular fire noodles are hot, but they're a pleasurable spiced where, yeah, they're really fucking hot, but they taste good. The double spicy, oh, that's just for those who just are a glutton for punishment.
I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, and you had tears coming out of your eyes with that video.
Yeah, I was crying with the nuclear fire noodles.
Oh, the nuclear fire noodles.
And I will tell you right now, milk or anything does not help at all.
Nope.
Makes it worse.
It makes it worse. It does not help at all. He's right.
It makes it
So
worse.
basically, you're in for once you take that first bite, you are in for the ride until they wear off. So you might as well strap yourself in and make yourself as comfortable as possible.
Because I don't even think ice water. Yeah, I don't even think ice water would really help it either.
Yeah, not really, because what happens is when it reacts to the inside of your mouth, because I'm probably going to head off here in a minute, but what happens is it reacts to certain receptors in your mouth for the spiciness, and then if you were to drink water, that actually redistributes it throughout your mouth, so that way, yeah, you might get it out of a concentrated area, but now you've just spread it all over your mouth, so you've just made it worse.
So what about the capsicum? What happens to the capsicum?
Oh, the capsaicin. So, capsaicin is actually what gives the spiciness, and actually how we have the Scoville heat units based off of it. So, pure capsaicin is 15 million Scoville heat units.
Wow.
That is pure capsaicin. Now, the hottest thing in the world, now pepper-wise, is the Carolina Reaper. I believe it's like 3.3 to 4.4 million Scoville heat units, but that's in the peppers. Now, when you put an extract and it becomes more concentrated, it's going to spike up the Scoville heat unit count. So you could deal with something that could be like 5, 6, 7, or even 8 million Scoville heat units. But the hottest thing in the world right now in terms of Scoville heat units is the Toe of Satan Lollipop and Mad Dog 357 number 9 plutonium at 9 million. Those are the hottest things in the world right now as we speak.
How do you even do like a droplet of plutonium 357?
That's it. You just put one little droplet in a little. I'm trying to think. So you could put one droplet in like a big pot of chili, and that is all you need.
Oh man!
Because it's super concentrated pepper extract. That's why it's so hot.
Right.
This is probably the primary ingredients for pepper mace.
Yep.
Pure capsaicin.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, listen, it's been it was definitely a blockbuster show.
Yeah, it was.
I normally
Hell yeah, it was.
I normally say that hold on. Damien, eating bread soothes or subsides the pain in the mouth when eating hot, spicy foods.
Not for me, it don't. It makes it worse.
All right.
Yeah, it's kind of like working. You work and you exert all this effort, and people say drink water. Don't drink water; it'll slow you down.
No, water helps me if I get too hot or sweaty, but I don't drink water. I might drink milk, but I'm not going to drink water if I'm dealing with hot and spicy food or eat bread because I know that's just going to make it worse.
The bread's going to make it worse. Well, it was definitely a bigger blockbuster than normal. And thank you for all your viewers. Thank you for your viewers. Thank you for the participants, co-hosts, guests, Jeff Zambello, the Whiskey Scout, Michael Hilton, of course, Damian the Wolf Owens. Thank you for everybody. And till next time.